What's up, guys? How's it going? We are going to be jumping in here to stream the Advanced Player Tournament today. And yeah, let me open up the game first. And then we'll find some people who are playing matches. We'll see who we can get on the hook, so to speak. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Alright, let's get this rolling. Oh, damn, do I have the, I might need to restart the game. I don't know if I have the map pack turned on, but we'll check real quick and we'll find out for sure. Do. Gotta be playing Mission Impossible music in your own head for getting stream set up and getting it to work right. Let's go see. No, I don't have it turned on. Okay, so I gotta restart the game. Alright, let me make sure I actually don't forget to turn this on. We've got it on. Now we're going to launch it. Now we're ready. Now we're prepared. Came to class with all our notes today. Welcome, welcome, guys. Let's go. Let's go. LFG, guys. So yeah, we're doing the advanced tournament today. We're doing it live, and then we're gonna do the new player tournament replays tomorrow. Is the idea. And tomorrow I'm gonna be streaming Space Marine 2 as well. After the tournament's over, I'll probably just go right into that and just start playing the campaign. I just went through all of 1, so if you're interested, you should go check that out. Is there a limit for Warrior of Chaos marks? Yes, just whatever the in-game limit is. CA finally put in... CA finally fixed the Warriors of Chaos marks shenanigans, so it's appropriate now. If you have the unit caps turned on, you just go based off of those. You should only get the 4 units. And Bile Trolls and the Sorcerers count for the Warriors of Chaos marks. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello.
Would think me for.
Alright, now we're gonna get going. Bracket is up. Let's see if we can find any of these people. I gotta check the bracket on Total Tavern real quick. There's a lot of people signed up today, which is nice. 15? Hell yeah. Let's go ask Via and Scrambled for a spec slot. Mistyping everything. So we might be doing Via and Scrambled Egg. Okay, Via's gonna set us up. Hell yes. Where are they at? That's Charix, Fabrosi. So the new players are going as well as our more experienced folks. What lobby is it? Oh, there it is. Spectate. 1, 2, 3. Ah, fabulous. Okay. So yeah, we're on map select, so we can't see what units they'll be picking. Alright, guys. We're waiting for Scramble to show up for Via and their matchup. It's going to be a good one for sure. I mean, Via's a really good player. Really, really good. And Scrambled Egg is, you know, obviously, what, up at the top of the leaderboard here? Let's go take a look at that. I'll show you the leaderboard as it stands now for what the end of season is going to end up shaping up as. Let me make sure you can see it. Yeah, y'all got it. Okay. Scrambled Egg's number 2 here. I mean, 82 and 32. It's a pretty good win rate. 5 tournament wins. And, you know, Syrkia's got 7 up here. You got Alexander. Alexander told me he's not going to be playing much. He's back in classes. I assume he's in uni. So he'll be busy with all that. Charks, Outer Region, Soarv, Tim the Wilder, RTK champion, Boss Toss, another RTK player. Lots of RTK guys up here. I'm down here at 13. I'm just barely scrapping to stay in. I'm in the lead of all the people who have one tourney win right now. I'd love to get a couple more under my belt, but you know, hasn't happened yet. Give me a second. Setting some more goodies up for us. Yeah, anytime, Jordan. Just ask any questions you've got, dude. I don't know. I'm very knowledgeable about the game. I'm not, like, the most knowledgeable person about it. I don't know everything. But I can probably answer your questions. If you've got any. Alright. LOL. I asked Via to get scrambled for me. I want the upset to happen. And he said it will be painful. I'm confident. So I don't know if that's. I have no idea if that's good, if that's an acknowledgement that he thinks he can get him or not. But we'll find out. I think Via can beat Scrambled. Just kind of going through here and checking out all of the people who've been playing this season. I've had quite a few people participate this time around, which is really nice to see. Maybe with the next DLC, we can capture some more folks to get in here and get involved in the Dom tournaments a bit. It's been really nice to see Conquest come out, though, and also start really giving people some options for playing multiplayer in this game, because multiplayer Total War is great. It's just not super well supported in the infrastructure. What 3 factions are good for beginners in your opinions? Lizardmen, Khorne, and Dowie. Khorne and Dowie because you have Gunline. You can learn Gunline really well playing Dowie. They're a solid faction that doesn't really have that many bad matchups. They've obviously got some. It's impossible not to when there's 24 factions in the game. But they've got lots of cool units. They're very dependable, and you're rarely going to get completely flattened on Dowie. Khorne, because you learn the ins and outs of aggressive micro. And just like Dowie, they're very resistant to spells. Kislev, I would not say, is a very beginner-friendly faction. They're really strong, but Kislev is, Kislev is very combined arms. Kislev has a lot of stuff that you have to play together in concert to get the most out of it. Khorne, Dowie, and Lizardmen are probably the factions that give you the best bang for your buck as a new player. So yeah, Khorne, aggressive micro, you can get that under your belt. They've got really good army abilities, so you've got a little bit of, spell casting, so to speak. Micro is very important for multiplayer, but macro is just as important. Making good decisions with where you're placing your units and having a strategy for your game style is very important. Lizardmen have access to every spell kit in the game, pretty much. I mean, all of the big ones. Life Fire, High Magic, Light Magic, Beast Magic, everything, pretty much. Micro is 90% of the game, I'd say. I would actually flip that and say macro is 90% of the game, but the 10% that is micro is the difference that is winning a tournament or getting bounced in the first round. That's my 2 cents on it. Yeah, you kind of have to know the unit, matchups, so to speak, for your faction that you play. That can be huge. Game knowledge is very important. I think maybe the most important thing in the game is unit knowledge, knowing what... is knowing exactly what units work against what other units. The more games you play and the more times you watch units that you think might be a counter to something else fail, the better you're going to get. You kind of have to lose in this game to get better. Alright, let's go take a look. Scrambled Eggs here. So they've got their picks in for factions, it looks like, and we'll be getting the game underway shortly. Since it's a single elimination, we'll be able to bounce around between all the players that are going on, and I'm going to go see if I can get people to maybe drop some replays for in between. Alright, I'm going to ping people in the new player Discord, because I'm doing their tournament replays tomorrow. I'd really love to get as many as possible, so that we can just go through them. I love the new player tournament. It's so fun. They bring the craziest shit and make it work all the time. Paste him here or DM me. You should jump in one of the new player tournaments, Jordan. Dom is awesome. It's really fun. Conquest is cool too. I played my first few games a couple days ago. I was awful. I got bounced every game, but it was fun. I might go back and play it a little bit more. I definitely need to learn the skill set. All of the modes are very different from one another. You know, Conquest and Domination mode have a lot of differences, and that changes the way that you build your armies for sure. Alright, Chaos Dowie and Vampire Coast are going to be our matchup for Scrambled Egg and Via Anime here. So I'm very excited to see how they manage to pull this off. I'm on, yeah, I am away from this. So I'm going to take a peek at the armies and get the advanced look here. Oh, wow. Hey, Apostate, you've won plenty of games against me, bro. You know what you're doing. You're good enough to... If I'm good enough to win a tournament, you definitely are. I got kind of lucky with mine, I feel like. You know, I just had, like, a really good day of playing games and caught people at the right time. Alright guys, we're kicking it off. I'm going to swap y'all back over so that we can see what's going on. So the first game of the day for the advanced tournament that we're seeing is going to be a Sorcerer Prophet of Fire on the Big Beastie, I'm assuming? Oh, maybe on foot. Wow, okay. Footcaster of Fire for the Chaos Dowie. Death Shrieker Rockets, Bull Centaurs with great weapons. Dowie Warriors, Goblin Laborers. And we've got Solastra Deerfawn here. Or just a really wide gun build for the Vampire Coast. Yeah, I agree, Patrick. But like I said, the micro is the 10% that makes all the difference in the world for where you actually end up getting placed. If you can lock down the macro, then focusing in on your micro decision making and actually getting off good casts of abilities and spells and getting good flanks and stuff, that's the way to do it. Or just play Kislev. Yeah, you can just play Kislev. But people ban Kislev away, and you can't play him half the time. And just because Kislev is probably the second strongest faction in the game right now, doesn't mean that there's any less skill that goes into actually, like, pulling it off. Like, a win with them is just as impactful as a win with anybody else. Alright, so the handgun deck droppers, I am a little surprised to see, I guess, but they're going to be great here. There's no Chaos Dowie shooting to get these guys away from the Death Shrieker rocket. So they're going to be pretty uncontested to just, like, fly up over here and just obliterate the Death Shrieker rockets, I'm afraid. I'm very curious to see what Via is going to be bringing in to protect the Death Shrieks. Because he's going to need something against this build. You know, the Chaos Dowie Warriors and Bull Centaur Renders can't really touch those flyers. And Sorcerer Prophet of Fire is going to be really great. I would imagine, yeah, just Burning Head here with Kindle Flame and the Chalice of Blood and Darkness is a really good call. The Vampire Coast is obviously going to be relying on spells to some degree, so getting that free heal on the caster is going to be really nice. It's a very powerful little item. This is probably one of the best items in the game, honestly. You bring this guy on his Bale Taurus, and he's pretty unstoppable at times. Definitely a hard carry type unit, but on foot here just to make him a little cheaper, which is a good call. Kind of need to go wide against Vampire Coast. And yeah, we're kicking it off here. So we've got Bull Centaurs, probably going to secure the #1 here. And then probably go scoot up onto the #3 really quick. Oh no, we've got some Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders getting up here. So I would guess that the little bow goblins here are going to be the guys that are going to counter skirmish the deck dropper handguns, because they actually have the same range. Okay. And if I were a betting person, I would imagine that Via just kind of sees the deck dropper handguns, caps the objective, and then just kind of runs back here and sets up around the pillar with the cannons that are hanging out back here. And just tries to make sure those don't get shut down. The Death Shrieker rockets, I'm not 100% sold on in this matchup. I feel like Magma Cannons might be just as good for a little cheaper. But I guess they do also threaten the Lamprey's Revenge, Morn Ghouls, stuff like that, if given the opportunity.
We have a victory point. Keep it from the foe.
And the their spread fire is actually pretty devastating at times, so that might be pretty good. We're getting a few shots in here against some zombies. No casualties on these barnacled bastards here. They're just wandering up to the point. Very slowly and belabored, but determined nonetheless. And Via's out here about to cap this #2 objective as well. Getting really aggressive for points is a pretty good call, honestly. The only thing that you have to really worry about, since there's no carronades or mortars or anything, you don't have to worry about your guys getting shot at a range where they can't trade. And Via's getting aggressive here, getting right up in and shooting the deck droppers here, but taking a lot of damage on the Wolf Raiders in return. There is no healing for the Vampire Coast, so maybe not the worst thing, and we got a Burning Head coming down already. Ooh, it's a fat one. Oh my god, it deleted 2 units, basically. Got a Gunnery Mob and a Hand Cannon, which is pretty huge. Just misses out on getting the Handgunners here, and these other Gunnery Mobs as well. So that's a really nice Burning Head in the opening. The Death Shrieker does miss completely, though. What a follow-up. Absolutely amazing stuff, Death Shrieks. This Death Shrieker's doing really nice here, though. Oh, the box formation against the Airburst Mortar. Oh, no. Ooh, yeah, that's good. That's juicy. Definitely needs to micro the other Death Shrieker onto a more opportune target, and Via does. Gotta be careful with these Wolf Raiders. These Wolf Raiders are the only thing that's stopping the handgunners from just flying overhead and obliterating the artillery here. And the artillery is going to be very important into the late game. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Scrambled Egg is dodging with zombies. Just moving zombies out of the way of the most advanced artillery platforms in the game. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, Death Shrieks are actually pretty sick. Falling down and everything. Absolute devastation so far. So, Scrambled's taking quite a bit of damage, honestly, on this gun line, which is proving to be incredibly vulnerable. And Via is playing very cagely with the Hobgoblins now, making sure not to lose them, keeping a Contempt unit next to them also for the extra leadership, which is amazing. Absolutely peak gameplay going on here. Knowing how to keep your less stalwart units on the field by giving them their malign authority and other leadership bonuses is great. Really well played there. And another Burning Head coming down. Does miss this gunnery mob and takes a bad rotation. Just clips the edge of this formation and maybe going to hit some more guys. We'll see. Maybe get these deckhand mob. Yeah, gets the back end of the unit and gets a little bit of extra damage in there. You're going to have a ton of Burning Heads over the course of this game, so getting some nice value out of it early is great. The Bull Centaurs do get forgotten about a little bit and take quite a bit of damage here. They don't have a lot to do right now. There's some Night Terrors out here in the back. You know, once those are engaged in combat, then you can bring the Bull Centaurs forward again. And they'll still trade pretty well. I mean, they've lost quite a bit of health, but they've still got some opportunities going forward for sure. More counterfire against the deck droppers here with the Goblin Wolf Raiders. It's a pretty even trade in the sky here, and without the healing for the Vampire Coast, and with these Death Shriekers just firing away all day, not caring, I'm getting a little worried for Scrambled. Most of the gun line is dead right now, honestly. Like, one of the hand cannons is gone. You've got a lot of gunnery mobs that are pretty beat up. And the hand gunners aren't doing much better. And, oh my god, another fat Death Shriek launch. Dropping right in here. Some damage on the Sirens with a Burning Head and another... roasting through the deckhand mobs. It's probably going to finish off this handgun unit, too. Amazing magic so far. How many kills does the Sorcerer Prophet have? 1,100 value and 156 kills. And the battle really hadn't even been joined yet, so that's with Scrambled Egg having the opportunity to dodge out of the way. So Via is just very on point with the casts. It's hard to pay attention to such a wide army for the Vampire Coast at times, so taking full advantage of the magic is just amazing stuff. Really well done. Another handgun unit getting punished back here. But there is some good magic going down in the front line here. It's mostly hitting Goblin Laborers, but you can see these guys, look at them getting tossed around in the middle of this. Oh no. Getting obliterated. It doesn't affect the Sirens. What's going on here? Are they also getting hurt? I guess they are, but they're not taking too much damage. A little painful, though, to have some of these ghostly ladies getting tossed around in there. And the Chaos Dwarves held up okay. What's going on out here? Pushing the number 2 objective is very aggressive. I'm not 100% sold on that, but, you know, Via does have a pretty big advantage and doesn't have the number 3, so he did kind of pull back from that position. Is holding on the hill here, and the Kadai Fireborn coming in. They haven't gotten a lot of value, and they're a little beat up, but we've got some Wolf Raiders shutting down the gunnery mob here. And it's going to give the Kadai an opportunity to trade a little bit better. They're fighting Mornghuls and, you know, the deckhand mob. So it's going to be a little rough for them just because the Night Terrors are great combatants. They've got 52 melee attack and decent melee defense that kind of nullifies the Kadai Fireborn's advantages here. And we've got, oh man, we've got handguns turning to face them. But the Bull Centaurs come in. They're kind of pushing back the Mornghuls. These Kadai Fireborn can definitely get in on the gunnery mob here. And what is going to happen with the Wolf Raiders being out of ammo now? Does Via have more of these guys? It doesn't really look like it. Summoning in a Bull Centaur Render in the backfield here. Coming in and just using the last of the ammo. Trying to get as many models off of the deck droppers as possible. So I really like the play so far from both of these individuals, man. Dowie Warriors grinding through the zombies over here. We've got another Kraken's Pull coming down. Doing a bit of damage to the Kadai Fireborn and whatever poor Chaos Dowie got caught in its effect there. Breaking the Chaos Dowie Warriors, leaving the Kadai are a great unit. I'm not sure if they're great in this matchup, though. They're very large targets for the shooting. It really doesn't take much of a hand cannon volley to really punish those guys, and Scrambled Egg has brought this value back. The value differential that Via had earlier is slowly dwindling, but Death Shriekers are finding shots onto Salastra here, using a Burning Head to free up the Sirens. Doesn't get the best rotation in the world, kind of misses the other opportunity targets here. Oh, and the damned Knights Errant are coming out. Are they going to get up in the backfield here? They could probably go get one of these Death Shriek cannons. And that's probably going to be needed because Salastra cannot take another shot from those guys. Salastra's got good value. Kraken's pull has been coming in clutch so far, doing a lot of good work. But we've got the Night Terrors back here getting beat up on. Sirens trying to hold up this advance, and the Kadai over here do appear to have died. But I'm not 100% sure. I think that, yeah, Scrambled Eggs got this point. So rotating back with the Bull Centaur Renders is going to be very necessary here. These Depth Guard have amazing weapon strength and are going to do a lot of good work against the lightly armored Bull Centaur Renders. Despite not having a bonus versus large, it's not really going to matter because 60 melee attack is 60 melee attack. These guys only have 37 melee defense. You really need to get away with them now. They can cycle charge Depth Guard, but cannot stay and fight, and Via making a good call moving out of there. More Burning Head action, but not quite getting it done there. Maybe just getting rid of these two polearms here. Casting it right down the line, or the one polearm in the deckhand mob here would be a safer play. Gotta get rid of these gunners too. The guns are coming back out for the Vampire Coast, and they're just gonna slowly grind down the Chaos Dowie here, who are looking pretty barren. The Death Shrieks are on their last couple volleys. One of them is on their last two. This other one here has a little bit more ammo. We're going to see where it goes. Salastra is dead. Did get killed by the Death Shriek rockets, which is massive, massive, massive value from the Death Shrieks here. 2,000 on this one, 1,600 on the others so far. With a little bit more room and getting a nice target here. With the Airburst Mortar, I assume. Awesome stuff, man. Nailing the handgunners here, getting a lot of good value. And clearing these out is probably going to give the Chaos Dowie an opportunity to get back on this point. I'm not sure about the Hobgoblin Spears. I'm not sure about the Wolf Raiders. Chaos Dowie are probably very needed here. I'm not sure how many Via has in reserve, though. Dropping the Hot Fire on these deckhand mobs. But the Depth Guard are kind of sneaking through here on the battlefield, and they're going to get on top of these Centaur Renders. The Renders do see. They're going to get the counter charge. Tossing in against the Depth Guard here. Doing a lot of good damage. They do have very heavy AP. And with the charge bonus, they're definitely going to do some nice work. But taking a few shots here, they do need to get out and avoid the gunfire. The gunnery mobs have enough weapon strength that they'll do good work against these guys. Like I said, light armor. Makes them a little squishy to any kind of range. Death Shriek. Oh my god, taking these gunnery mob down to half health already. Awesome. This game is so razor close. Scrambled Egg has the ticket lead, and it's getting close to triple cap territory for Via. That's very scary. Vampire Coast and Undead can be incredibly difficult to triple cap. You can double cap them easily enough, you know. You can take advantage of their lack of mobility at times. But getting all of the objectives is not going to be nearly as easy. I really... Man, more Kadai Fireborn coming out, Goblin Laborers, not a lot of cap weight on the field. And that's pretty important at this stage. Maybe a couple more Chowie Warriors would be doing Via a lot of good here. Because these Wolf Raider Spears are really not getting it done. They've been beaten back pretty efficiently by Scrambled Egg this entire game so far. Depth Guard, 1187 value. Doing great work with these guys. And just chasing after the renders. That's the right call. The Scurvy Dogs are going to block up the Centaur renders here, locking them in place. And with the Depth Guard piling in behind them, it might be the end of these very expensive Centaurs here. It's a lot of elite monstrous infantry and cavalry that I think, combined with the lack of durable infantry, might be doing in the Chaos Dowie here. Lord is firing in, trying to kill the pole arms, but it's triple cap time. And I'm not sure if Via's even going to be able to get this middle objective back in time at this stage. The Scurvy Dogs are swarming onto point. They're holding the cap weight here for the Vampire Coast. They're chasing something down. Yeah, just chasing down these frightened and terrified goblin laborers. Poor little guys, getting absolutely rolled by all of these disgusting beasts. Morghuls are so sick, man. Look at the smoke effects on them. Or the fog, I guess, is what it's supposed to be. Looks more like they've just got an active smoke bomb trailing them, which is pretty funny. But they're pinballing these little guys around. And number 2 is very secure. Bull Centaur renders are all being dealt with here, and I think this is going to be game. But Via scrapped in this really well. Almost had this game. It was so razor close. Got the number 3. Is there a last gasp attempt here to get on the number 2? He's got 55 seconds. Or no, not 55. Now he's got 60 seconds. So a minute to get the number 2 here. Is it going to happen? I mean, got some Wolf Raiders, but there's a lot of Scurvy Dogs here. Scurvy Dogs are a pretty good counter to the Bow Raiders here. Kadai can get blocked up with the Morghuls, and I don't know if you can even get there in time. We've got some Chowie here, and some more Goblin Cav. I don't know if he's got time to flip it. Oh my god, this game. I think if Via had just a little more time, maybe it capped up the number 3 a little earlier, this game would be in a favorable spot for the Chowie here, but this huge reinforcement wave is imminent arrival to number 2, and that's going to be a lot of cap weight for the Chaos, or not for the Chaos Tower, for the Vampire Coast. They do have full cap weight on their zombies, which is pretty crazy, honestly. I do understand why. But yeah, that's going to be it. That's a really well-played game by Scrambled and Via each. Just a little bit too thin in the front line at the end of the day for the Chaos Dwarves here. I'm not sure what else you would bring. I mean, that's a lot of Centaurs to be bringing out. And the Kadai Fireborn were really disappointing here. They really did not perform at all. The Wolf Raiders did okay. On further reflection, it's really not looking too bad for them. I think maybe just cutting Kadai and bringing more Chaos Dowie infantry. Like, maybe get rid of these Kadai and get 2 Infernal Guard. That might be pretty good. They've got silver shields and are very durable. In melee, they'll do alright. Even against Morghuls and stuff with their good melee defense. It's a theory. I'm not 100% sure, though. I don't have as much experience on the Chaos Dwarves as Via does, for sure. I'm going to message them real quick. Alright, guys. We're going to go find us another game. Let's see. Who is up next? It'll probably be, we'll probably do Scrambled and Falling Star. Just keep rolling with it. Maybe Chimbambu and Charix. Let's go see who is doing what. Via's gonna come join us in chat, and I'm gonna ask him to let us in on the tech knowledge for that matchup. Alright, guys. Scrambled and Falling Star, maybe Empty Empires and Takoyaki. Although that is the first round, so they should be going by now. Let's go find some people. Alright. Okay. Talking to Chimbambi right now. I'm going to ask Blood Penguin and Opal Bear. Okay. I think we'll be doing Chimbambu and Charts, which will be a really good match. Chimbambu's a really great player. Bounced me in the Corn Mirror match, which was funny enough. And then we had a really close game of Greenskins versus Corn. That replay I put up on the channel recently. That's worth seeing. Skull Cannons. If you want to watch Skull Cannons not be meme cannons, then yes. Check it out. Ooh, there's Charix. Okay, let's spec 7. Welcome to the stream, guys. We're doing the Advanced Player Tournament hosted by RTK. Let's get the fuck out of here before we give up any builds. And it's Chimbambu and Charix here. Skaven versus Bretonia, although I think this is the Bretonia banner that gets auto-selected every time. I don't know why that is. Like, hello. Every time you join into a match, it seems like this Bretonian banner is the one that gets selected when you get into the actual lobby. Where's Chimbambu? Let's message my man here. Okay. Yeah, no, the anti-large centaurs are super necessary there. The Morngulls and even the animated Hulks. I mean, you could probably get rushed down by animated Hulks. They do enough AP and melee to deal with Chowie infantry well enough. So I love the centaurs there. But the Kadai just seemed lackluster, which is really sad, you know. I would have figured that they'd be a little better there. But I guess all the AP shooting is enough to deal with them, and once that what is it, Blazing Body, that gives them Unbreakable when they're above a certain health threshold, that really let them down there. I wonder if a Demonsmith Sorcerer with the Restores could help them out. Because then you could maybe out-tech your opponent where they like think they can focus down the Kadai and then you just keep popping heals on them. That might be something to look into, but that's a little expensive because they're $750 each without the spells and abilities other than Restore. Would you just bring more Chowie Warriors, or would you have done Infernal Guard? Because I don't know how Infernal Guard do. they're probably very vulnerable to Morngul's, but they do have pretty good melee defense. That's why I was thinking they might be decent. Alright. They're picking armies still. We're gonna go we'll go troll about on the Total Tavern website. And I'll just show all the tournaments that RTK is going to be hosting. So what I'm hosting is a weekly series. They do every week. Yeah, you could drop the Death Shriek if you take double heal. Okay, I mean, that sounds interesting for sure. So yeah, anyways, RTK hosts a new player and advanced player Dom and Conquest tournament every week. So come and join. Lots of good players, lots of good games, very friendly and, open environment for everybody. We've had a lot of really good casts of it so far. If you take double heal, too expensive. Yeah, that's the problem with Chaos Dwarves. They're just so freaking expensive. Like, all of their good stuff is like 1,200 gold and up, especially the mobility and artillery options. Do you think a blunderbuss front line would work against Coast? Because I've tried playing that into a bunch of other factions, and it works okay, it seems. I don't know how it does against the handguns that Vampire Coast have, because they do have silver shields. It helps them a lot, from what I can tell. So yeah, we've got win rates for all the factions here. Jordan H was asking about beginner factions. Khorne, like I said earlier, Khorne is nice. Dowie, really solid. Lots of bans for Dowie units lately. People don't love going against him. Oh, Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings are a good beginner faction. I think I would maybe say Tomb Kings over Lizardmen. For beginners, just because Tomb Kings, have the undead traits that make their units a little more durable than normal, and you can learn how to, you have like a good balance of shooting and melee going on with these guys. They'd be pretty good. And then, what was the other faction that I said? I don't think Empire's very beginner friendly. They're very micro intensive, and State Troopers are kind of garbage. Even after their buffs and changes, most recently, they're just not good. So you got a very flimsy front line with a lot of very important units that you have to babysit. And what was the other one? Oh my goodness. So Dowie, Khorne, and Tomb Kings. Lizardmen are probably the fourth if I had to choose. Norska, good noob faction. One play style, strong roster, good magic. What's not to love? That's true. I can agree with that. The only thing that I would say is Norska has a lot of really lightly armored stuff, so they can kind of struggle in some of the matchups that they have where good shooting is on the table. But I do agree with you, Charix. It's honestly kind of nice knowing what you're going to be playing in advance as a new player. We'll be getting our match underway soon. Chimbambu and Charics are just going through their picks and bans, setting up their armies. And we're just kind of going over and macroing through stuff. I am Ace Barney. I lost my first game. Am I playing another one? Are you in the advanced or beginner tournament? I'm pretty sure you've won a... I'm pretty sure you're here in the advanced. That's not this week. Where is it? Hello? There it is. Okay. Yeah, you're out, Barney. Hate to hear it, man. Send me the replay of you and Charks' game. For sure. I'm sure it was a really good one. The grandfather Nurgle loves all his children. I agree with that. Nurgle is very fun. I do enjoy a good Nurgle matchup, especially playing against them. Corn Feasts. Very sad. We'll get you some good replays in here, Ace. There's some good matchups coming up, and let's see. Are there any other Total Tavern tournaments going on right now, or upcoming? Some Swiss SFTs, maybe. It doesn't look like it. It kind of feels like everybody's just oh, don't worry about saving the replay. It feels like everybody's kind of waiting on the new DLC to come out. It's going to be in a few months, I think, and people are kind of kicking the tires on the game right now, which is a good thing. You know, it's good to take breaks from games. I'm probably going to be, I'm going to still be doing replays and stuff, but I'm definitely going to be branching out. I'm going to cover Space Marine 2 a bunch, and just play a lot of that, and talk about it. It looks really good, so I'm very excited for tomorrow, when it's fully out for everybody. Alright, High Elves versus Lizardmen is going to be Charks and Chimbambu here. But, I mean, going back to kind of the state of the multiplayer scene, it's still alive. It's still got lots of people playing, but, you know, definitely flagging in interest a little bit, just because it's been a while since the most recent, like, DLC, and all the most recent changes are kind of settled in. So people will jump back in the second the DLC comes out. That's going to be really nice for everybody. It's going to be fun. Turin's probably going to get back into casting a lot more and hosting a lot more tournaments, I'm sure. I know he's kind of doing a bit of a variety more lately, which is really fun. Go watch his AOM stream today. It was sick. I'm definitely picking up the AOM remake. I'll probably play games in that too. I'm going to get back to playing Norse. I was a Loki and Odin Norse enjoyer in the original AOM when I played online. Norse have some of the cheesiest strategies that are just hilarious to pull off. Loki with the free myth units for fighting, absolutely iconic stuff. Alright, guys. I'm going to go peek at the armies, since we're swapped away right now. And it's looking pretty good, okay. Hell yeah. Ooh. I love seeing what people are bringing into these Dom matchups, because I don't know if I've ever seen the... Loki Horror Hordes are awesome. I agree, dude. Age of Mythology is a great game, but I love seeing all the variety that people build into their armies in domination mode. It's definitely got like a more flexible option set for playstyles than conquest mode. The like half dozen or so conquest games I've played so far seem to be very favorable for, like, not like kite builds, but, you know, very flexible, ranged armies. That seems to be where it performs best. And in Dom mode, you can kind of play Blob. You can kind of play Mobility. You can do a lot of different stuff, which is why I kind of prefer it overall. But I know everybody's got their own opinions and feelings about the multiplayer scene. And I respect the hell out of that. Everybody's got their preferences. And for those of y'all who are here right now, how are y'all feeling about the Wood Elves now that everything's kind of settled down since their buffs? Because I remember when they came out, even I thought they were kind of busted, but I feel like they're honestly pretty decently fair, and I think a lot of matchups are rough against them, but I do think that there's some like tech options to play into Wood Elves that would probably even out some of these. So they're pretty skewed right now still. Like, I mean, if you're beating Beastmen 65% of the time, you're a pretty strong faction. But I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that Kislev isn't the world beater still. It's kind of funny that their overall win rate is locked in with the Beastmen matchup. I feel like that kind of says everything you need to know. Beastmen have kind of dropped in the win percentages lately. They were almost up here with Kislev and Wood Elves at one point. But I think people are a little more coy to the Centaur strategies. Because that's kind of the overwhelming prevalence of games that you'll see against Beastmen. Because the throwing axes and the regular variant of Centaurs are already strong. The, hold on, guys. There we go. Sorry. But, yeah, the regular variants and the throwing axes are strong enough, but when you start throwing in the Centaurs of Tzeentch, then things start getting really scary. Alright, messaging some folks out of game right now. Charks is ready, Chimbambu is almost prepared, and we're going to be kicking it off here. We are going to go see if there's any... we'll see if we can maybe have some games in between. I'm sure some people are in here dropping them. Ooh, okay, so we've got Opal Bear Black dropped as a replay, so we'll watch that in between the next game, for sure. What's the bracket shaking up like so far? Yeah, Scrambled Eggs, Falling Star, Empty Empires, and Akeen are going to be playing next. Chimbambu and Charix are going to be watching here in a sec. And then Blood Penguin versus Opal Bear, which is really good. Opal beat Hitman Hippo. That's a pretty big plays out here. Hitman bounced me in the last tournament match I played against him. It was Beastmen versus Demons of Chaos, and he double change-bringered me to death. It was brutal. Alright, guys. Match is kicking off here. We've got Lord Mazdamundi with the double Ancient Sallies, 5 Saurus Warriors with shields, a Ark of Sotek as well, and then we've got Emmerich on the other side. I'm not sure what mage that was. I didn't get a great look at it. I think a Life Mage. And a bunch of Lothern Seaguard and Spearmen. Some Silverins, I think. Look at all the graves. I imagine this is in Sylvania somewhere. I mean, it's grim enough to be. We got the spooky skulls over here. Just ominously burning eyes in the landscape. That's how you know you're in an undead realm. Spooky tower. Alright, let's get back to looking at the armies. So, yeah, Illyrian Reaver Archers are always a good call. They're pretty good against Lizardmen in general. Just a great skirmish unit. Incredible range on these guys. 140 for those dudes. Lothern Seaguard. Silverins. Yeah, 3 Silverins and 3 Lothern Spearguard for the front line. Anything else? Doesn't really look like it. And where's that caster? That's regular old Emmerich. And the Life Mage is here with Earthblood. Just Earthblood and Life Bloom. For the big heals across the battlefield, you know, you get some pretty nice stuff. I mean, basically 1% of your health is restored every tick there, for the first 4 seconds at least. In the last 3, you get the 0.8 of Earthblood. You can be very sustainable with the Elves with just a Earthblood caster, but Ancient Sally's going to counter a good bit of the healing for a lot of these units. You know, the infantry blob is going to suffer pretty badly at the hands of these guys if they're microed around properly. They got 160 range, so they're slightly outdone by the Lotherns. But they should be able to hit the Silverin Guard before they can get shot up by the Lotherns. There's no snares here for the Elves either. It's going to be just a pure knockdown fight here. Bastillodon moving up. We've got a Chameleon Skink Skirmisher summon for our first call out from the Lizardmen. Probably another one somewhere. It says there's 2. Yeah, there are 2 Skink Skirmishers coming out. Illyrian Reavers getting a little fire on this Ancient Salamander here, but Mazda should be able to drop an Apo on top of these guys when they start getting a little lower. I think that, actually, I think that Apo would probably heal this guy back up to full pretty perfectly right now. It'd be worth getting into. Illyrians taking a little bit of fire. They've lost a few models from the Ancient Sally shooting. And the Saurus Warriors are just moving up. And they're going to support the Salamanders here and just take the point for free. Not a lot of contested action coming in here. Charix playing very smooth so far. Has a lot of really nice pieces here to deal with the skirmish. And oh my god, that shot from the Salamander. Getting 8 Silverin Guard off the field is a pretty big deal. These guys are a very elite spear unit. And they're pretty beefy with the 30% spell resist. And trying to fight them in melee can be kind of difficult because of their stats. Not a lot of melee attack, but 54 melee defense makes them obscenely tanky. Unless you have, you know, a dedicated anti-infantry unit, not the best idea to fight them in combat. It's a pretty good ruination of cities. Didn't get the best spread. It would have been really nice if it had, you know, gone out and maybe hit these guys too, but still did decent work against the Silverins. But they held up pretty well. Thankfully, that spell resistance they've got is helping prop up their durability there. Sally's getting a shot on the Lotherns back here. It's going to be nice damage if it hits square, which it does. Damn, that took a lot of guys out. Oh, and I think the miscast actually killed a couple of the Lotherns as well. Wow, okay. That's kind of crazy. I've never actually seen the miscast kill infantry like that before.
Their magic is weak.
Dang, man. I mean, it took the Lotherns down to about half health, so... Emmerich's getting up in the front line here to fight the Saurus warriors with shields, which is a pretty good call. And Charix is playing very defensively, just kind of drawing back, not overextending. Gonna be continuing to use the Salamanders to poke down the, you know, the Silverins, I would guess, and then working on getting against the Lotherns back here, who do have good melee defense, but is a little bit less. They don't have as good of armor either. Oh, and these guys don't have shields either. So the Skink Skirmishers will actually be pretty good against them if they can get in there. But they are kind of needed against the Illyrian Reavers out here. And we got some magic going down here. Is this a banishment? Looks like a banishment may have been thought about being cast, but Apo instead being used on the Saurus Warrior with shields, which is a good call. Little bit of friendly fire there, which is unlucky for these Sauruses. They didn't mind too much, though. They've just got a very fat health pool. Much better than the Silverin Guard here, who have 8,100 versus a full 10,000, man. I mean, it's kind of insane how much HP Saurus have. Really nice Shield of the Old Ones. 20% damage mitigation as well as leadership. Good healing here from the Elves, and they're just holding the line here. Not trading amazingly, though. It's getting a little scary, and I think that you could use the Illyrians to just charge in and shut down the Skink Skirmishers here. I think that might be your best call, and it might be time that Chimbambu recognizes that and does it. Man, what do you do about the... oh, we've got Razordons. Oh my goodness, Razordon Hunting Pack came out, and it looks like they got a fat volley off on Emmerich, who's really beat up back here. Oh my gosh. Completely missed that. Wow, what a good call-in. Charix bringing all the units, all the flavors of the rainbow in terms of shooting for the Lizardmen here. Saurus Warriors moving out. They've taken care of some of these War Lions and White Lions back here. They probably also got hit by some Razordon fire, because these Saurus Warriors do lose to White Lions otherwise, so that's really nice micro. Very good decision-making from Charix so far. And Chimbambu should probably just run these guys down. The charge bonus and the melee attack is good enough to kill the Skinks in combat. Ah, the Cold One Riders are coming, though. Run! Get away! It's a really nice counter from Charix here. Bringing out the Cold One Riders, who are going to get a nice charge on top of the Illyrian Reavers. It's going to start doing some pretty nasty damage against these guys. They do catch the Skinks, though. They might be able to still get rid of them and get out before the damage gets too serious. And just kind of loop around the battlefield and get back to their lines. Fireborn coming out here. They're going to obliterate this Feral Cold One, but Charix has got amazing micro and immediately starts pulling these guys back. And, Razordons, are they going to get any shots in here? They need to be careful. They're going to get completely flattened by the Fireborn here. And I think it may be a little too late for these guys. The Fireborn rolling up with the shock damage, but the Feral Cold Ones sacrifice themselves to save their brethren. Very selfless play from the Feral Cold Ones. Chark's doing a good job of pulling those guys in so he doesn't lose a, you know, a battlefield DPS unit. And you can see how much damage those volleys are doing, man. Oh my gosh. He's popping an Apo on the Feral Cold Ones, Harmonic Convergence on these guys, everything under the sun coming in to help these Feral Cold Ones hold the line. And Chimbambu losing the Fireborn here, who are taking disgusting amounts of damage. Maybe they're going to get on the Razordons here, and Emmerich should probably go get this Salamander here. Maybe the weaker one, But it's starting to look really bad here for the forces of the High Elves. They're very tattered. And the Lizardmen just bringing out dedicated counters to everything now. We've got some Feral Cold Ones, or not the Feral Cold Ones, Cold One Spear Riders coming in to answer the Fireborn now, who are trying to retreat. A couple of the models are getting stopped up by the Ancient Salamander here. And, man, these Feral Cold Ones are still alive out here. Harmonic Convergence proving to be a pretty decent spell to keep the stats nice and high for the Fireborn to not chip through them so easily. And that's going to be it for this one. Chimbambu is going to call it there. Really well played by Charix. Ancient Sallies doing their thing, man. Strutting their stuff out here with 117 and 100 kills each. Pretty identical value, over 1,100 for each of them. The Saurus Warriors did great. They were pretty healthy in the late game there too, so really nice to see. And yeah, that's just a great game. Charix knows this matchup in and out, obviously. And Chimbambu, unfortunately, not quite having the right army composition, I guess. The Elite Infantry really got countered by the Salamanders. The Illyrian Reaver Archers were doing pretty good, but, you know, they don't have AP. So it can be kind of difficult for them to chew through the Lizardmen forces in time. I'm not sure what you would bring for the High Elves here. That's a tough one. Alright, guys. I'm gonna go look for more replays. See if anybody dropped them in the chats here. They did not, but we'll watch Opal Bear and Hippo's game because that's gonna be a really good one. Well played to our competitors here. I'm gonna drop the replay in my folder real quick. Downloads. Come on. Let me move my windows around, please, Windows. Oh, wrong thing. Here we go. Yeah, we'll replace folder, or replace file, I should say. And here we go. Okay. Jumping right into another match. This one a replay of Opal Bear Black versus Hitman Hippo. And the Hippo Man bringing in a really strong Air Force here versus the Beastmen. Really not a bad idea. This is kind of what he beat me with when we played, although he was on Demons of Chaos and had 2 Changebringers instead of just 1. Curious to see how the Knights of Immolation do here. What's up, Aggie? How you doing, man? Butcher's a Kalkengard out here. Always a very solid unit. We've got Morgur. We've got the Bray Shaman of the Wild on foot here with Traderkin, Ungor Raiders, and some Great Weapon Minotaurs. Lots of Ungor herds. Pretty standard Beastman build here. Nothing too crazy. We've got Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch with the Javelins. We've got some Zangors. We've got the Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord is great, man. Really good duelist here. Great melee attack and melee defense, and even without the bonus versus large would be pretty amazing. Knights of Immolation in the sky, backing up the Changebringers, which is a good call. These guys are very stalwart against other air units. They'll shut down any Harpies or trade well against Manticores, at least, if those do come out. And Sorcerer of Metal with the Final Transmutation. Marauders of Tzeentch out here, holding the number 2 down. So Tzeentch getting the objectives early. Everybody else trying to find some ways to do things. The Knights of Immolation getting really aggressive here. Hippo making a great call. Picking off an Ungor Raider in the early going to give the Changebringers a little bit of free value, basically, on this side of the formation. They're going to just get in here. They're going to absolutely obliterate the Ungor herd. Nasty damage. Although, they are a very cheap unit, so these guys taking the damage really isn't that terrible of a thing. Ungor herds holding here. Morgur just chilling. Running up onto the number 3, going to help secure it with the Ungor herds here. And the Raiders getting a little fire on the Changebringers. That's really nice. They have, 3,200 health, which is basically nothing. They've only got 10 armor, so literally every single arrow is doing, like, max damage. I think it's only mitigating, what, like, 2 or 3, actually not even that much, like 2 or 3 of the 16 missile strength, so you can kill Changebringers really quick with these Ungor Raiders. And Knight's Immolation, they're coming out. The Harpies are on the field now. They're trying to get after the Changebringers, but they're going to get shut down really hard by the Knight's Immolation here. But Opal Bear is landing here, making a really nice micro decision. This is where micro really comes into play. The macro, it's all about the macro up until the time that you have your units in combat, is which point you need to do stuff like this. Pulling your Minotaurs into position to, like, countercharge stuff, and getting the nitty-gritty of the formation details going. So really nice KG play so far. Hitman's used a little bit of the ammo on these Changebringers and not gotten a lot out of it, but a good volley against the Ungor Raiders, but not doing as much as I would have thought. They are kind of shooting up against the Knights of Immolation here, missing an opportunity to poke down the shields, but there's just a lot of Furies up in the sky, so the Harpies not having the best targets in the world. They just lose one-on-one versus these Furies pretty hard. They don't do terribly, but they certainly do not match up well. More Raiders coming forward. They're trying to get some arrows in here. Firing in against the Changebringers. It looks like getting a little bit of damage, but Hitman, always with the good micro, pulling these guys back deeper into the formation, and the Beastmen are overextending a little bit with Morgur. Morgur does have amazing resilience against shooting and magic damage, but he does have regen, which gives him a weakness to fire, and the Changebringers also imbue 10%, so functionally it's only a 45% resistance, and another Changebringer coming out, absolutely nailing Morgur here. I've seen in-game how easily he can get sniped out by these guys. It happened to me against Hitman, and Opal Bear's going to have to get that guy back. It's giving him a little bit of time to push up and establish a little more battlefield control, though, so I don't hate it. And huge Traderkin, upgraded Traderkin coming down on these Changebringers here, doing some incredible damage, but he does pay for that with his life. Getting absolutely obliterated in the Chaos Spawn. On top of the Zangors, what a great call. Poisoning these guys, locking them in place, and they're taking some nasty damage from the Chaos Spawn right now. Up to about 100 value on those guys. Yeah, man, oh my goodness. Only 11 models left, and the HP's real low on the Changebringers here. Get on top of these guys with the Harpies and take them out, I think. They're about to start crumbling. Demonic instability is very punishing, too. But, an absolute aerial display here. The pillar becoming a Cirque du Soleil almost of a variety of units just flying around trying to get into combat with one another. You really love to see it here, folks. Only in Warhammer Total War can you see that. Centaurs diving into the back line. They're very deep set, though. Getting very aggressive. The Marauder Horsemen didn't get a lot of value out of their throwing weapons, and they're really getting flattened by the Centaurs on the charge. Despite having the overshields, they are giving the Zangors a chance to collapse in on the rear here. Really nice call by Hitman. Oh, but the Minotaurs, sandwiches upon sandwiches. We got onions out here, folks. We got Ungors coming from this side. Minotaurs collapsing. We've got surrounds all over the place. Just an absolute clusterfuck going on here. You gotta love it. And the Minotaurs breaking in on the Zangors, doing some good damage, but the Marauders pulling back away from these guys is a good call. Probably needs to get them away from the Changebringers here, who are doing nasty work, but Looks like the, where's the caster? Where the hell is he? We got another Traderkin that just went down on top of the Changebringers, doing some good damage, but I have no idea where they... Oh, here he is. Here's the Wilds caster. Only got 1200 HP left. Did rally in time. In a final transmutation, hitting a lot of stuff, but, you know, not getting Morgar and not getting the Brace Shaman of Wild is kind of rough. We've got the Butchers of Kalkengard out here. They have not done a thing, but doesn't really look like they need to right now. The forces of Tzeentch are pretty stopped up in their backfield. The value's very even. But we've got one Changebringer out of ammo. Not paying for itself. And, yeah, it does look like moths are out of a lamp, honestly. But not going to get a lot of a rebate on these Changebringers. They're pretty much out of ammo, too. So, not an ideal situation for Hitman. And another upgraded Traderkin hitting Changebringers. Doing amazing damage to them. They've gotten a lot of use out of their ammo, and the Butcher's getting obliterated here on the rear of the unit by the Changebringers here. You can see how much vulnerability these guys have against them. Oh, brutality! Oh, no! Oh, my God. It's so nasty, man. Okay. Well, that sucks for the Butchers of Kalkengard. They've got 12 models left. Maybe they can escape here. It just depends if the Changebringers can get another good volley off. Dodge, dodge, dodge. Oh, no. Oh, humanity. 6 models left on the Butchers. 55 value. I think that's paying for themselves, right, guys? That's doing pretty good. But, other than losing the Butchers, I've really got to say the Beastmen are out here making some serious plays. It's a very even game, and the forces of Tzeentch are completely swept off the field on the ground here. There's some Zangors and a couple of Senegors here, but tattered Zangors here, nothing on this objective. Knights of Immolation are healthy. Not Harpies, Furies, and yeah, just some tattered units left here. I mean, Tzeentch can definitely get back in this game. Do not be fooled. There's lots of opportunities here for Tzeentch, but very healthy Morgar on the number 2 is going to be really difficult to overwhelm. He's getting his claws in here on the Centaurs. Gonna get some really good value against those guys. He's such a good fighter. 55, 45, 400 weapon strength. That's pretty decent, all things considered. And the Butchers did rally. They're not dead yet. They're not completely out of this game. 2,300 on these Changebringers. Much better performance out of these guys. We've got some throwing axes coming in. They're helping mop up these Zangors. There is a terror route going down because the Butchers do have terror. Just another tool that makes them an absolutely insane unit. And Tzeentch does look like they will resecure the number 2 in a moment here. Centaurs of Tzeentch charging down the Ungol Raiders here. Tossing these guys around, man. Brutalizing their brethren here. But the Dark Gods care not. Beastmen are basically the whipping boys for the Warhammer universe. They just kind of go wherever they're told. Whoever's got the most fighting available for them to get involved in. Butchers are mopped up. That's very painful. It's a very expensive unit. They obviously didn't enjoy getting hit by the Changebringers. And Knights of Immolation out here. Is Tzeentch going to pull this one back? They're so heavily down. It's time to just pile in on one objective here. Morgar is not going to be able to reposition, obviously, but he's going to hold up the Chaos Lord and the caster here for a little bit. But you can see how well the Chaos Lord is doing in this duel. Melee attack is better than the melee defense of Morgar here. And kind of giving him the business. You know, he's got really good armor, and Morgar does not have a lot of AP. That's probably the biggest weakness of Morgar. His durability is pretty unmatched as long as you don't let him get completely surrounded like this. And we're going to see if the Beastmen are going to be able to hold on to this here. It is so insanely close. Beastmen should have this. They can probably roadblock enough to keep the objectives in play long enough to get the W here. And we've got units in the forest. The Centaurs are throwing axes, teaming up the Spearmen here to shut down these Centaurs of Tzeentch. absolutely locking these guys down. 1,100 value on this 800 gold unit. 1226. Just racking it up, killing those Centaurs, man. Really nice stuff from Opal Bear. And definitely going to be able to pull this game off. I don't think that it's going to... I don't think that the Tzeentch forces have quite enough time here. And Morgur, man, with that durability. All the other units left, and now it's just the Chaos Lord fighting Morgur, and he's just not quite hitting him enough. This guy, man. This guy. This cow. This disgusting filth bag. You know, I mean, look at him, man. He's got some pretty cool shit going on. Really fun model. And, like I said, really durable. Really nice choice here. And Hitman is going to call it there. Really well played by both of these players, though. Opal Bear did exactly what you want to do when you see a big Air Force like that and get really aggressive on objectives. Didn't just sit around and wait for stuff to happen. That's how I got beaten by Hippo. I just kind of waited around and tried to hold two. Really should have gotten aggressive, and Opal Bear more than made up for that in this game. Got all over all three objectives and just pushed Tzeentch off. And then Tzeentch traded a little too evenly and didn't have enough time to grind it back. We've got some good value on these Goreherd and Blackhorn's Ravagers. Understated heroes out here, obviously. Some Centaurs doing well. Not super surprising. They're just so strong, man. Good value on Ungor Raiders for the most part. And these Ungors out here died for the Dark Gods. And yeah. Good stuff. 488 kills on the Knights of Immolation, dude. That is crazy. Me smacking my action figures together. Oh my god. Yeah, Apostate. That's exactly it. Everybody has a macro until they get microed in the face. That's absolutely perfectly said. That's how you gotta think about it in this game for sure. So yeah. Hitman Hippo, Opal Bear. Great games, guys. That's awesome. Ooh, and we got a, what is this? Tomb Kings versus Vampire Accounts. Holy shit, okay. We're going to drop this in. We'll do this replay also. Let me keep a better eye on the tournament. I do want to get y'all the, well, the semis are going to be coming up soon. So let's go, let's do Scrambled Egg and a Keen. I'm going to go message those guys. And we'll do the semis here. Once we've done that, we'll do that replay that Scrambled Egg just sent us. And who's the other folks? Blood Penguin and Charix. Blood Penguin's really good, and so is Charix, so that'd be a good game too. I'm just gonna see what Scrambled Egg says. Check with a Keen. Okay. Have I ever messaged a Keen though? Could I get a spec slot? If a Keen's not cool with us casting that game, I'm gonna go ahead and message Charix. One second, guys. Alright. You gotta love end of season allergies phlegm. It's just great stuff. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and ask Charix for a spec slot again. Whoever answers first, I'm gonna jump in and spec their game. It's probably going to be Charix and Blood Penguin. We'll do them, would be my guess. But maybe we'll get a Keen and Scrambled Egg. Either way, we're in the semis now. It's been a pretty quick set of games. You know, the benefits of single elim. I kind of like the format, truthfully. It's pretty fun. You know, everybody's got a chance to win, and upsets happen all the time in this game. So having a single elim game gives, you know, newer players or people who are just playing really well for the day a chance to get a tournament win under their belt. You know, the Swiss SFT really lets, you know, the absolute best of the best shine because it reduces the variance that they get upset. Maybe I'll play around with some single elim tournaments. I haven't hosted in a while, so I think I'm probably going to maybe get one in soon. We've got 2... Charics lobbies out here. Okay, this is Plague Penguin and Charics here. Scarbrand dropping me some replays from the new player tournament, so we'll download these before I forget about them. What else have we got? Okay, Akeen is finally answering me here. Yep, okay. Alright, so we're gonna cast Scrambled and Akeen. 1, 2, 3, I assume is the password. When is it ever not? Bam. We got it. Okay. Not giving anything away. It's gonna be maybe... I think they're doing their picks and bans right now. So we'll give it a minute. Not sure how long they've been doing that. But I really don't want to miss out on the opportunity to get the semis done live. And let me get these replays into my folder properly. Place file, we just saw that game, so that's fine. Chowie versus Heil, close game. I don't know what that is, but we'll put it in here anyways. Let's go take a look at what other goodies we've got people dropping. Got one here. Empire versus Lizards. Drop that in here too. So we're getting some good stuff for the new player tournament. We'll be doing all those replays tomorrow. Today we're just focusing in on the big boy tournament, the leaderboard qualifier, so to speak. Finals is best of 3, guys, so that's going to be really fun to watch. It's going to be a grind potentially. You know, these players have a lot to take into consideration when you're doing a best of 3 in the 3x3 matrix. Alright. Let's see it. I'm gonna swap y'all away, and I'm gonna do a little peeking. We'll jump out here. I'm gonna show y'all the, you'll see the bracket here. You can see kind of what's been going on. Okay, yeah, these are just random armies now, so... they're not picking quite yet. I'd love to see a Charybdis in game sometime. I can't even think the last time I saw Dark Elves bring a Charybdis out. Just kind of looking through armies and stuff. What kind of buffs do y'all think Dark Elves need, guys? Because, you know, they're down here in the pits with the greenskins. You know, and, you know, the green and the green boys are going to be getting some big DLC buffs for sure. Dark Elves haven't gotten a DLC in a long time, and they're pretty haggard right now. They don't have a lot of great matchups, and certainly struggle in quite a few. So, I'm not sure what they need. I'd be curious to hear any of y'all's thoughts. Bretonia not doing too hot. I don't know what it is about Warriors of Chaos having such a low win rate. I really feel like they should be better, right? I mean, they've got one of the most flexible rosters in the game. It's absolutely crazy that they're not doing as well as they theoretically should be. Buff the Reaper Bolt Thrower more in line with the Dowie Bolt Thrower. That's a good idea. I feel like, though, you could say that Scourge Runners should get, like, maybe 2 more models. Because they've got, what, 4 models, I think? I feel like that would be a little bit more in line with, you know, Elves being a mobile faction. And give them a little bit of extra punching power. Because Scourge Runners aren't bad. They just take forever to pay for themselves. And, you know, that was a very meta unit in the Warhammer 2 days. So it'd be nice to see those get back out on the field, and Dark Elves maybe be kind of what they were in Warhammer 2 and just be like a skirmish-centric faction. You know, because, you know, they've got Medusas that are pretty good. Malekith and the Dragon Lords are pretty decent, especially with Soul Stealer. It's just that that infantry and that skirmish game not being as strong as they could be. Walk need more Chaos Marks. Maybe. How many do you think they would need extra? Like 2 or 1? See, that's what I'm saying, Charix. Scourge Runners, they're not bad. They just, you know, they have limited ammo. It can take them, like, all the uses of their ammo to pay for themselves. And then they're really not good on the charge. I don't know what it is about them. They're not terrible, but they're definitely not as good as other chariots are. So maybe, like, 2 extra models and some more HP. Maybe, like, 5 extra ammo. Because that would be a centerpiece-type army. That'd be really good. 6 to 8 total for Warriors of Chaos. I feel like 8 might be a little too much. But, I mean, I guess if the idea is that you should be bringing... if you're playing a truly undivided Chaos, Warriors of Chaos army, I guess it would make sense to have that many marked units. I don't think it would get too cheesy. I mean, they kind of need it, right? So, I can agree with that, Apostate. 6 to 8 sounds like a decent range. I think CA has the opportunity to just jump in and just change numbers to see how things work out. It'd be nice if the community could play around with it a little bit, but also not ideal, because it just kind of makes it more difficult to keep the community together. It's already, like, fractured enough with having, like, you know, the conquest and domination, like, split. So, having to add mods on as a community just makes it even more fractured than it already is. What would be y'all's Warrior of Chaos build if you could bring that many marked units? If you had access to 8 marked units, what would you bring? Because you definitely have more synergy opportunities. Because with 4 right now, you kind of see the same stuff. You just bring, like, 4 of the most elite things. You know, you see Severed Claw all the time. and you know, a chosen of some flavor every now and then. What are the other marked units that get brought a lot? Knight's Immolation you see fairly often, and Nurgle Sorcerer, see that a lot. I feel like you'd probably start seeing the Bile Troll swarms again. Because, you know, they used to not count for the Marks of Chaos. Okay, Akeen is readied up. It's going to be Slaanesh versus Vampire Coast, by the way, guys. I've been rattling off wish lists for the game long enough now. 2 Trolls, 3 to 4 Infantry, 2 Monstrous Marked. That sounds pretty solid. Beastmen units for sure. If they are marked, they should be anyways. That'd be sick. Beastmen units on the Warriors of Chaos would be pretty crazy. Alright guys, I'm flopping y'all back over. Scrambled Egg and Akeen playing here. Good luck to both of these guys. I think they could put Beastmen on the Warriors of Chaos. That would be sick. Don't worry, Charix. You can't know everything in this game, dude. It's crazy just how much knowledge you have to even be like, you know, an average domination player. The Warhammer multiplayer has depth that other games just can't touch. That's kind of the best thing in the world, and also kind of a shame because there's just no infrastructure to support the multiplayer scene. It's just not that good. It'd be really nice if they could have like a working ladder, you know, like seasons in-game, stuff like that to get people like invested and interested more consistently. But it is what it is. Maybe with the next Warhammer Fantasy or 40k game, they'll get that rolling. Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh with a Lord on the Chariot. And we got the Chaos Chariots of Slaanesh too. 2 Chaos Chariots of Slaanesh. Oh my gosh. That's bold, man. Chariots are really good against gun lines. They can certainly do some pretty nasty damage. We've got some bomber mobs, regular old gunnery mobs. This is a Scrambled Egg special here. I mean, quite literally, it's in the name. And what else can you say, but this is kind of what he really loves to bring, is very wide gun lines. And just swarm all over you. It can be very difficult to deal with if you aren't prepared for it. Got Lamprey's Revenge back here with their little shotguns. And it's going to be Forsaken and Devoted Marauders. The Forsaken are kind of nice, truthfully. You know, they've got the Immune to Psychology. I think that's always active. I don't think that's because of the Frenzy. They've got good weapon strength, melee attack, and they've got Devastating Flanker. So their charge bonus is going to be pretty nasty if they get into the back. Apostate says Warriors of Chaos should at least have Ungors. Yeah, maybe. I feel like you could just give the Warriors of Chaos the marked Gores. You know, that would kind of make sense that they'd have, like, Slangors, Zangors, Korngors, and the Tzeentch, or not the Tzeentch Senegors. I think Tzeentch Senegors would be a little too much on Warriors of Chaos. Then you'd basically just have an entire Beastman army playing as warriors. But, yeah, the foot variants of the Gores would be really nice. What are Nurgle, what are the Nurgle Gore variants? I don't even... Oh, the Pestigores, that's right, Lamau. Just completely blanked on them. Pestigores would be great for the Warriors of Chaos. That AP, like, fast AP infantry is invaluable to so many rosters that need it. Khorne desperately needs, like, an AP infantry that's not Bloodletters. You know, something that's a little bit cheaper. Like, I love the idea of shock halberds for Khorngors. That would be pretty cool. It'd be pretty different from what they usually have, though, so I can understand if they don't do it. We've got Pavane and Acquiescence here. Y'all can see, right? Yes, okay. And we've got the Rapier of Ecstasy on the Chaos Lord of Slaanesh on the Chariot, which I love. It does Rampage, which is really nice. I'm curious to see how these Chariots perform here. It's going to be tough, but Akeen can make it happen. If anybody can do it, it's going to be Akeen. We've got deckhand mobs with polearms, some handguns. The Prometheans are moving up to the number 3 over there. Looks like Scrambled Egg is going to be taking a line kind of like here, it seems. Maybe getting some guys in the trees here, just to hold off the Chariots in the forest. And Akeen gearing up for a flank, maybe? Or maybe just forcing Scramble to feed units up in here. Which isn't a bad idea. Do we have anything else over here? Is it just these polearms? Yeah, kind of. There's some gunnery mob here. They might be able to get a little bit of shooting, but definitely don't want to take the fight in the forest because you're not going to get any benefit from the guns in there. And yeah, the Chaos Chariot's going right in here on top of the gunnery mob, getting nice work done. But the hand cannon turning and firing is going to obliterate these Chariots if they don't get into combat quicker. They got to pile in here in a nice Rampage. Really good use of the Rapier of Ecstasy. Doing a good job of piling these guys into combat where they can't quite get their volleys off. One Chariot did die. One model is down. Great Kraken's pull on top of the Forsaken. Doing some nasty damage here. Can't see a damn thing with the effects, but you know what's happening in there. Death and devastation for those Forsaken for sure. And yeah, these Forsaken are going to clear out these halberds pretty quickly here. It's not going to be a very even fight at all, but they're doing a little bit of damage back to the Forsaken. You know, these guys only have 20 melee defense, so they're suffering a little bit. Devoted Marauders fighting against the deckhand mob here. Number 2 is in the hands of the Vampire Coast, but they're getting overwhelmed out here on this flank too a little bit. The Rotting Prometheans, they're doing some nice damage to the Forsaken in these spears here. But they are getting poked down a little bit, you know. They're very durable with the regen. But if some Seekers came out right now and just got onto their flank there, that would be pretty brutal. That would probably flip it pretty hard for Akeen. Akeen is behind right now. It's very unfortunate. And the Forsaken, he got hit by the spell. Down to pretty much no health. They have 60 models, though. Some healing on them would be amazing. But Slaanesh doesn't believe in that. Slaanesh is a deal-with-it type of Chaos God. Very cruel and unforgiving, in my opinion. And yeah, Chaos Chariot's really not quite getting it done. These guys got escorted off proper quick. This Chariot out here did even worse. Looks like they got trapped up by the deckhand mobs. And probably got hammered by the Lamprey's Revenge would be my guess. Almost 1,000 value on the Lampreys here. They don't have terror, so the spears are not in danger of being terrified, but they're all about to break here, and they very likely will in just a moment. Those crabs have a little bit too much durability to get through the armor on them. Oh man, Scrambled's really starting to pull a big value lead here. Up about 2,000, we've got the Deep's Admiral just running around out here, probably casting a few Tide Calls, looking for another opportunity to drop that Kraken's pull. Oh, the Chaos Sorcerer got caught! Oh my god, what happened to the Sorcerer here? Completely missed it, but the Sorcerer goes down. Gunned down by the gunnery mobs here, it looks like. That's painful. Absolutely massive catch there for Scrambled Egg. Getting rid of the Slaanesh Sorcerer is probably going to take this game completely out of reach at this stage. I don't know though. Maybe it's not. Slaanesh does have a triple cap pretty much. Does have a triple cap. That's brutal. Slaanesh coming out here with all the answers and really making it difficult for the Vampire Coast here to push out. We've got some depth guard in the middle of nowhere right now. Where are they going? They could get up on this objective maybe. Maybe they're waiting for some reinforcements out of the Vanguard there. So curious to see what happens here. Lamprey's Revenge with 9 models, chewing through some Slaanesh Furies who are getting some good AP attacks in here. Doing decently for themselves in return. And yeah, the Seekers did come in. They're all over the poor crabs here, who I fear for. They've got a lot of AP on top of them, but the Seekers do dissipate just in time, and there go the Furies. Fiends coming out, though, now. But they're jumping into the deckhand mob with halberds, who are going to do some good work against them. Lamprey's Revenge are crumbling now. That's big loss for Scrambled Egg here. And Akeen is somehow managing to pull this back. Brutal stuff. Another Kraken's pull on top of Forsaken. Just great use out of that spell. How much value now? 1,700 on this caster. And the Mournghoul swarms arrive, fellas. We've got some deckhand mobs supporting these guys. And the Night Terrors in this Mournghoul unit are very healthy. And the Hunger healing them up a little bit as they go. Pretty nice stuff. Depth Guard going to take the number 1. The number 2 is going to get secured for the Vampire Coast here. There is a 2,000 gold difference. Yeah, I think even though the fight was going decently over here, the Fiends are starting to take some serious gunfire. And they're on top of the halberds here. Really not able to get them free. And it's really just down to some Hellstriders and the Chaos Lord, mostly. There's no infantry on the field, hardly. More Chaos Chariots coming out. I don't think they're going to get much done here. Mournghouls are just going to lock them in place eventually and just tear them apart, but maybe a play can happen here with the Sorcerer getting dealt with. Maybe if the Fleet Admiral goes down, maybe somehow Slaanesh has time to pull this back. They've got the ticket lead for sure. Don't have to commit into bad fights here, but Fiends dying and only getting 600 value is very painful. Oh man, I don't know what you do differently. I think this is just a little out of reach. The Chariot Gambit really did not pay off for Akeen here. And the Chaos Sorcerer is definitely going to be going down here in a moment. The Hell Scourge, Hellstriders, helping out a little bit, but maybe a little too low on health. 529. I don't know if he'll recover, even if he does get away here. Probably a little too beat up at this point. Night Terror's doing some good work. Hellstriders are just desperately trying to grind some value out anywhere. But, man, Animated Hulk's coming out. Swarms and swarms of undead forces arriving onto the field, getting into the fray here, and definitely going to start to really take this game over. Chariots taking a little damage from the Fleet Admiral here. Got a few shots left. 1,900 value on your Lords, really good. I mean, even with the very pared down spell kits, this is an expensive piece. I mean, 1,900, I think, with all these abilities and such, can really start to cost a pretty penny. The Black Periapt coming in, giving some more wins and recharge rate. Probably got maybe another Kraken's pull in the back pocket. I believe 3 have been dropped at this stage. Maybe a couple Tide Calls. Man, Kraken's pull is expensive. But those hard-hitting AP spells can definitely turn a battle completely on their head for you. Seekers really diving after the Fleet Admiral. Great use of Narcissism, to be honest, though. Locking the caster in place, but too little too late for the forces of Slaanesh. And Scrambled Egg is going to be taking this game. Really well played by the old Egg here. And Akeen making some gambles with the army for sure that just quite didn't pay off. The Chaos Chariots, one of them got shut down hardcore, man. The other one did alright. Not amazingly, though. And I feel like you really need the Chariots to do amazingly if you're going to bring them. 850 is pretty pricey for them. Look at the handgun value. These hand cannons didn't do too hot, but the actual gunnery mob handguns did good. 1,200 on these guys, 650 here, 822, all of them paying for themselves. Really nice. And, yeah, 2,000 on the Lord. Night Terrors did good. Lamprey's Revenge, they held up. You know, I mean, they didn't quite pay for themselves, but they stopped up an awful lot of Slaanesh pressure on that one flank that they were on. So good stuff. We'll be seeing Scrambled Egg in the final here for sure. Alright, guys. I am going to go take a look at the bracket, and we will get back to you guys in just a moment. Here it is. What's going on here? So Charix and Blood Penguin are playing. I'm going to go ahead and show off this, where is it? Is this it? No. Was it Scrambled Egg and Falling Star that we had? Yeah, it is. Okay. We're going to go ahead and watch the Scrambled Egg and Falling Star replay we got, just to give us something to do in the meantime. And we'll get to the finals ASAP once Charix and Falling Star, or not Falling Star, Charix and Blood Penguin are done with their game. So we got Heinrich Kemmler coming out from Scrambled Egg. I really like Heinrich Kemmler. And I've seen this build from Scrambled Egg before. The double Vargulf. This is a little different, though. Bringing a Graveguard and really relying on the passive healing. It's going to be pretty nice. Kotep's coming in here. We've got lots of Halberds. And the Kefirgard are out here, too. Really like to see it. I love the opening. You know, the 4 Skeleton Horse Archers are going to do some pretty good poke. They can shoot at the Vargulfs. They can shoot at the Corpse Carts. I would actually say shooting the Corpse Carts is more important. These things, you really might not think of them being so important, but they give perfect vigor and an aura, and melee attack and melee defense buffs. Also extra leadership, and then the passive heal is actually pretty crazy. So focusing down those Corpse Carts with the Skeleton Horse Archers is what I would love to see from Falling Star. Just cap up these objectives for sure, hold on to them. And Vargulfs are a little too fast. They're just going to kite around like they're doing now, just running in circles, being very annoying. Not really going to get a lot done with them. And don't shoot the White Kings, because they've got the Silver Shields, man. Silver Shields mitigate a lot of fire, so just hold on to those volleys. They're going to come in handy against the Corpse Carts, which have to come out. You know, Vampire Counts can't just sit back here forever. They've got to advance eventually. They'll probably start bringing out answers to the Horsemen, in which case you really got to do a good job of arranging your Tomb King line. You know, you really should probably just get up here and take this angle where the anchor for your flank is this building here. You know, it kind of shuts down everything here. You can put something in this tree line here, maybe like a skeleton spear, and make it even longer of a flank to get around, because then you're not allowing Scrambled Egg to get anything into the forest that can hide and then jump out on an opportune time. Little more fire on the White Kings. Using a lot of ammo up on the Skeleton Horse Archers. Not a lot of value out of that. That's a trade you take every day. You do a very similar thing with Corn Cultists. You just send these guys out to take Horse Archer fire all day. They really don't care too much. And it's even better for White Kings, because obviously they get healed. You know, we've got Kemmler hiding around back here. Doing a good job of staying in the trees with Kemmler. Kemmler's on the horse, so very quick. Can get out there. Doesn't want to get shot up by the horsemen, who did get some damage against him. That's a pretty good set of shots there. Skeleton Warriors and Zombies holding the number 3. Ooh. Oh, and the Scab Scraths. Oh, nasty stuff, man. Scrambled Egg's so good at using those. Absolutely devastating on those Skeleton Spears. And what do you do here? What do you do here? Save the volleys on the Chosen of the Gods. They're not going to do great damage against these guys either. If these were regular Ushabti Great Bows, I would be all for shooting these guys, but the spread fire is not going to be very good at hitting these very small targets. Probably going to do more friendly fire than anything. Right, and it looks like the undead undead on both sides, but the angrier, eviler undead. Coming out of the forest finally here. Moving up. We hear your Discord notifications? Damn it, okay. I thought I had it set up so that y'all wouldn't. But I'll flop that over so you don't have to get bombarded by notification sounds. Poking away with the horse archers here, getting some good fire on the Vargulfs, and Scrambled Egg is going to pull those guys back. And we've got the kitty cat out. Oh, the Cimmerian War Sphinx rolling in, gonna do some great work against these White Kings. It's a good save from Falling Star here, bringing that old thing out. We've got some Necropolis Knights with halberds, really heavy metal stuff. Very fun build. But now that the corpse carts are on the field, they've got pretty low armor. And yeah, they do have regen, they do heal passively. They're kind of difficult to poke down, but it's very worth it over a long game. It's going to get rid of all the healing on the Graveguard and the zombies, which is really important, because once you get rid of all of the chaff, the Cryptors and the Vargulfs are really going to start getting pounded by all your other units. Chosen of the Gods, not a ton of value, but they got some good shots on that Vargulf for sure. Maybe turning and shooting here into this big blob, you'll get some good burst fire. But nice targeting, getting a little poke on the Cryptors there. I don't know why it didn't do more damage, but, you know, it is what it is. Cimmerian War Sphinx pulling back a little bit. And what are the Tomb Kings going to do here? I like Kotep. Definitely a good choice to kind of nullify the ability to get these casts off. Wind of Death is out here. Absolutely on the table that the front line for the Tomb Kings could get absolutely dumpstered here if Falling Star isn't careful. Wind of Death is just, always has been, always will be, one of the most devastating spells in the game. Great use with the Cimmerian War Sphinx, really tossing these poor Graveguard around, and the Necropolis Knights piling on top of the Cryptors here, doing some great work in the Graveguard. Down to like half health, but there's the Wind of Death. Oh man, that was a good cast. Hit the Kefir, hit the Tomb Guard halberds, really good damage. The Kefir will heal up pretty well with the Realm of Souls. Tier 3 already coming out though. They also have regen though, so they're going to get up to a decent fighting position here. Chosen of the Gods out of ammo. Unsummon these guys now or dive them into combat. They're really not bad in melee. 35 and 49 is not terrible. And they've got okay weapon strength. It's mostly armor piercing. 65 is okay. It's enough to get some work done for sure. Ushapti summon in the pit here. I can't help but feel though that Falling Star is going to start falling behind pretty bad because the corpse carts are very healthy. And they're just going to heal up everything in these blobs, you know. The .05 doesn't seem like a lot, but it stacks up so fast. It can get really vicious, really quick. Cryptors grinding in here. Krell is on the field. What's up, Krell? How you doing, buddy? What are you up to? 129 value, you know, just Krell things. Not doing a whole lot, but, you know, can definitely get a little extra damage in there. And the kitty cat's starting to run out of space here. Cryptors all up in this blob here. And, man, I can't help but feel like some more pressure onto the back objective here would be good, but it looks like the reason we're not getting more aggressive on the back point is because the Sphinx of Uskef is on the field, but running out of infantry for the Tomb Kings can be just as devastating as it is for, vampire counts here. And the Graveguard, one of these Graveguard, very healthy. Where's the other one? I think it might have been dealt with. Are they here? No, that's Skeleton Warriors. Yeah, one of the Graveguard has been dealt with, which is nice, but the other one out here, nice and healthy. And we got zombies and skeleton spears here, trying to hold up the inexorable advance of the Tomb Kings, but there is an awful lot of DPS out here for the vampire counts now. Once you get all the Vargeist and the Cryptors on the field, it gets really dicey for your opponent. It really doesn't matter too much what kind of units your opponent has out on the field. Vargeist and Cryptors in tandem are pretty much always going to be able to answer them. Great charge and shock damage on the Vargeist. Diving on top of these Necropolis Knights with the halberds. Just dumpstering these guys. Going from... And they weren't in a great position to begin with, but this is about as bad of a fight as you can imagine for these guys. Vargulfs on top of them, who are, you know, getting some nice healing from their hunger and invos, I imagine. Shutting down a lot of the counter units for the Tomb Kings. Skeleton Horsemen and the Sphinx are coming in, though, now. This is a big sandwich. Big ol' stinky sandwich here, man. Big blob fight developing here. Corpse carts, they're all over here on the middle objective. Probably just leave them here, and they can just eventually outgrind these Tomb Guard halberds. Stack the Graveguard on top of this one here, and you'll be pretty much safe. This objective is never going to get taken again. White King's getting orders to go to the number 2, which is pretty nice. They're very durable. They can definitely accomplish that. In the right circumstance, Kemmler needs to be really careful here. Getting beat up by the Kemrian War Sphinx. If the Sphinx of Uskef could get a slap in on him, that'd probably be... he'd be on death's bed at that point. 488 kills. A couple wins of death have definitely been coming out and doing some crazy damage here. Oh my god. Ripping through all of these Skeleton Horsemen and Tomb Kings. SCs, man, they're great, but if they start getting swamped in Cryptors, they're going to get beaten to death. You know, the AP on the Cryptors is pretty decent. They've got okay combat stats. 40 melee attack on these guys, by the way, is pretty great. Almost enough to get through the melee defense of the Kemrian War Sphinx at base. And having the full surround, they're going to get the full benefit of their attacks in there. And the Vargulfs turning their attention to the War Sphinx, who can't quite escape right now. Really need to get back. Does Falling Star. Does take the objective, though. Or no, doesn't take the objective, right? No. How the hell did the Tomb Kings take this? Alright, I mean, I'll take it. We've got skeletons pouring in, though, so the vampire counts are probably going to retake in a minute here. They've got, I guess they just had all their cap weight off of the objective in that big blob. Piling in now and surrounding all of the Tomb King's forces. We've got some Ushabti here, trying to help out old Kotep. We've got the Kemrian War Sphinx getting really low here. Good value on it. But not as much as you would like to see. But getting an isolation on Kemmler is not bad. Kemmler, despite not having Winds of Magic at this stage of the game probably, does still have the Chaos Tomb Blade for the heals. And looks like Scrambled Egg is going to be giving the order to get the wheels going. Getting out into the open field and just running away here is going to be the best option. Come on, Kemmler, get out of there, buddy. Stop getting stuck on your own skeletons. Oof. And what is the Sphinx going to do? I think it's a little bit out of reach for the Tomb Kings now. They're getting pressured on the home objective with the White Kings here. Skeleton's Horsemen are not going to outtrade the Dire Pack. Even the very tattered Dire Pack here are going to just rip these guys apart, man. Really great play. Scrambled Egg, just on point, as per usual. And the Tomb card got, you know, casual 250 kills, not even halfway paying for yourself. Undead special right there, man. We love to see it. Ushabti beaten down by the Cryptors. And the Spearmen gonna be dealt with there. The cap is in anyways. And it is a triple cap for the force of the Vampire Counts. Massive counter charge on top of these Skeleton Horsemen. Dire Pack just trading up for days, man. And a huge invo. Overcast invo on all these guys. It's definitely GG's here. I'm going to start fast forwarding through here. The points were pretty close, though. Falling Star did a good job of holding points for as long as he did. But they're just getting overwhelmed at this stage of the game. Kotep being taken apart by the Vargulfs now. Sphinx of Uskef probably just coming out a little too late. Probably would have been a lot better if it had come in as the first summon. Instead of bringing in the War Sphinx, bringing in the Sphinx here, I think would have been the better option. Its fire damage is so nice. Could probably peel the corpse carts here. And if you can blob a bunch of stuff up, then you can use the Ushapti with great bows to just counterfire everything else. But GG's, man. Scrambled Egg, proving the chops on the Vampire Counts, who are definitely the least played faction in the game right now. Scrambled Egg is probably the only top player who is using these guys on a regular basis. At least from what I've seen. Love to see the off-meta choices here doing some pretty good work. Alright, I'm going to go mute my... Alright. I think they're going in the final, so we might miss the first match, but we'll get a replay and we'll go through there, and we'll get the rest of them for sure. It's very unfortunate. So it's Charix and Scrambled. Yes. Thank you for waiting, guys. Y'all are kings. Seven? So yeah, not gonna miss any. Shame me more, I deserve it. No, come on, man. Don't be too hard on yourself. That's a tough matchup. Vampire Counts are stupidly underrated. The only thing I would say is just focus those corpse carts down. I promise you, that's the most important unit to kill in that, like, blob. Once you get the corpse carts down, the zombies and everything else are a lot harder to keep alive. A lot less durable. There's no perfect vigor anymore, and the vampires really suffer after that. It basically, how it plays out for Vampire Counts is if your opponent is bringing the corpse carts and you can't kill them, you auto-lose. That's just my personal experience. Everything that I've seen up to this point has not disproven that in any way whatsoever. They just make everything so obscenely durable for them that you have to deal with them. And it's very annoying that you do, because it's a 500 gold unit. You don't want to use all your shooting to take them out, but it ends up becoming imperative. Alright, guys. Oh, yeah, god damn it. Let's mute these freaking notifications, man. I thought that I had it on a different audio wave or whatever it is. But evidently I did not set it up properly. So, where are noties? Come on, come on. Disable all notification sound. Okay. We're just turning off the noties for now, and I'll try and make sure that I get the audio set up better next time. I thought I had it right, but obviously not. So thank you for telling me, Charix. I imagine that's pretty annoying. Corpse Cart healing effects, they don't stack on one another, but they do stack with the other passive heals that Vampire Counts have. So, like, Chaos Tomb Blade is going to stack on top. Mortis Engine does not, but, you know, Mortis Engines are their own beast. They're even more dangerous. What are the other passive heals? Oh, yeah, and then there's a lot of regen on the Vampire Counts. You know, the Cryptors have the regen effect, and it stacks on top of the regen, so they just get crazy passive healing. But the biggest thing about the Corpse Carts is the Vigor Mortis, because it gives perfect vigor in a radius around them. It reduces vigor passively, and also gives a buff to melee attack and melee defense. So the chaff is suddenly pretty decent in those scenarios, and can be very threatening. Alright, here we go, guys. We're waiting for the picks to come in. I'm going to go check out my fantasy football team, how they're doing. I've been so busy with this, I haven't gotten to pay any attention to that, so... We're out here winning. Some good games going on. I don't know how many of y'all are football fans, but I'm a huge NFL enjoyer, personally. Let's go take a look and see if anybody's dropped any more replays that we might be able to take a look at later. We've got a couple from the new player tournament. Not a ton from these guys, unfortunately. Scarbrand's given us some good ones. So we'll have like 7 or 8 replays from the new player tournament to watch tomorrow. And then I'm going to be doing Space Marine 2. So if y'all want to come out and hang with me while I play through the campaign, that'd be awesome. I'll probably also play some of the PvP, which looks sick. It looks like just, you know, upgraded version of Space Marine 1 PvP, which I enjoyed back in the day on the 360. It was good stuff, man. Alright, they're starting up picks and bans here. I'm very curious to see how that goes. I'm going to ask Scrambled Egg if we can see the picks and ban process. That would be pretty sick, honestly. I think there's a way that you can spectate it. I think I've done it in the past. I'm going to go take a little gander at it and see if I can set it up for them. Create new draft from this preset spectator. Copy. No, go away, Battlestate Games. I have my BSG launcher, like, pushed right up there. Alright, they got their picks and bans in. Maybe we can get the view on the picks and bans sometime. And y'all can kind of see how it works for those of you who don't really play multiplayer. I know most of y'all do, so may not be the most exciting thing in the world. But I love the counter picks. Counter picking and picks and bans in general, one of the funnest parts of the like mind games for me, you know. Alright, guys. Picks and bans are in. So they're going to be sorting out which factions exactly are going to be playing. And we're just going to chill here for a minute. For those of y'all who are here on the stream, thank you. Y'all are the best. Love to see it. Lots of good energy here. No, don't sort it like that. Okay. Clicking buttons on the wrong thing on stream. But we're rolling through, and we're gonna... these are gonna be really good games, because Charix and Scrambled Egg, I've played both of them, and they both play, not similarly, but in terms of skill level, they're pretty even. So I imagine this might go to an actual Game 3 here. How do you approach the 3x3 pick and ban system? Well, the best thing to do is know which 3 factions you're picking. And then if there are bans available, what you want to do with your bans is you want to think about, number one, what factions are best against your faction, you know? Like, if you play Dowie, you do not want to play something like Beastmen. Beastmen are so mobile, they're going to swarm all over your lines, and they're going to shut down your reinforcements, and then you're just going to slowly get ground down by them. And you'll probably do okay on tickets, but Beastmen will eventually out-trade you. So if you're picking, like, Dowie, say you pick Dowie, Empire, and Wood Elves, then if you get an option for bans, banning Beastmen would be a really good call, because Beastmen are great against Dowie, and they're great against Empire. And of all of the factions that Wood Elves don't necessarily have the best matchup against, Beastmen are also pretty good against them. And then it's also worth considering who you're playing, because, you know, there's 24 factions in the game. Most people are not going to be amazing at all of them. So you'll know, kind of, after a while, what people tend to want to play and what they want to pick. And then you can kind of do some, like, mind games with counterpicking who your actual opponent is. You know, guys like Scrambled and Charks have been around for a long time. You know, they're very experienced, even more so than I am. You know, I have played Total War for a long time, but I'm pretty new to the multiplayer scene, and especially to Warhammer multiplayer, because I only got into it in this most recent game, because I just never loved land battles. But, if you know your opponents, you know your matchups, you know your factions in and out, you can make informed decisions about how to go into the 3x3 and give yourself the best possible matchup. You can win tournaments based on your matchup knowledge just by going through the 3x3. And it can be kind of frustrating as a newer player because you don't have that same benefit as more experienced guys do. But the more you stick with it, the better you're going to get at every aspect of the multiplayer system. That's my answer. It's very long. It's not the most direct thing. Maybe I'll do a video about that. I've been trying to do some video editing, and it's been a little rough in parts. I'm learning Premiere now, though, and that seems to be clicking with my brain. So maybe I'll do like ins and outs of the 3x3 band system. But I do also think that there's a guide on a Total Tavern. Let me actually go take a look. Yeah, here. Okay. Alright, they're still picking armies, so let me show you guys this quick little guide here. So you got the basics of it. Both players pick 3 factions via the blind pick tool. This is take this for what it is. It's not 100% how it plays out. Lots of people go in and they mess with the presets to give like extra ban options. You can specify that top 5 factions are the only things that can get banned. All kinds of permutations. So this is just the basics. You go in, pick your stuff, you ice out the matchups you don't like, and then you end up on one. But the basic standard is that you do top of the bracket picks the first, the bottom bracket player bans twice, top bracket bans twice, and then you ban twice as the bottom bracket, and player 1 gets... Being on the top of the bracket gives you a bit of an advantage, in my opinion, because you can kind of lean into having a bit of a trap matchup, like leaving one bad matchup for your factions on the table to make your opponent ban out other stuff and maybe think that they're going to get an opportunity to play that. And then you just counterpick onto a good matchup, and you can kind of game people that way occasionally. But really good players are not going to let that happen, you know. But damn. This is just the basics of it, so there's not really like an in-depth rundown of it. So maybe I will do a video about it. I think that would be nice. Total Tavern's awesome, though. There's some pretty decent resources. What are the other guides? That's faction guides. 5 tips to succeed in domination tournaments. I actually read through all of this, and it helped me out a lot with knowing what to do. So I'd check that out. Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah, this is a guide for the matchup matrix. It's changed a lot over time though. So I would take this with a grain of salt. It's not updated to be recent, so it's probably not going to be as informative as it could be otherwise. Listen to Apostate. Apostate's onto something there. Like, just practice doing the picks and bans. That's a pretty good way of going about it, honestly. Charix and Scrambled Egg are going to be playing Norska for Charix and Vampire Coast for Scrambled Eggs, so we're going to have a pretty hot and heavy matchup there. They're picking their armies now. They're almost done here. They're getting in there, they're getting it sorted, and we'll just kind of keep going through here. What are some other good... Identifying the Aggressor. This one is really worth reading. Housecat is an amazing player, and this is really nice because it gives you some idea of like the meta game for playing through a domination match, and especially you know, for playing through and knowing when you do and don't have an advantage on the field, and where you may or may not have holes in your army as the battle progresses. Anything else? Is domination mode just brainless infantry spam? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Mobility reigns supreme in domination, quite honestly. Infantry are important, but slow infantry can get punished pretty hard, honestly. 5 tips to succeed. I already went over this one. I can kind of read through it in a minute. Maybe while we're waiting for the counter picks and the picks and bans for Game 2, I'll actually read some of these. I'll do Identifying the Aggressor first, because I think this is the most important thing to keep in mind for knowing the ins and outs of domination mode. And I can tell you, this article actually made a big difference for me going from just being like decent to actually being pretty good at the mode. If you can grasp these concepts, you'll be ahead of the curve from most players. Alright. I'm going to take a minute and stop gabbing and just hang out here while the final notes are being taken by our players here. Scrambled looks like he's set. Charix got a last little bit of gold here. I'm curious to see how he mixes it in. What he's going to do with his last little bit of value. Oof. Where did everything go? What's going on? Hold on. I did something. Here you go. Oh, whoops. Okay. Okay. Scrambled eggs ready. Charix. Last little bit. And I think we're good to go now, guys. So we're kicking it off, and now I'll kick you back over. I almost gave up Charix's whole build here. Game 1, Grand Finals. Let's do it. We've got Norska, helmed by Charix here. And we've got Scrambled Egg on the good old Vampire Coast. A very reliable build here. Lots more gunnery mob than in some of the other matchups that Scrambled Egg has played so far today. Which is exciting to see. The basic gunnery mobs are pretty decent. You know, they got pretty short range. And their missiles aren't incredible, but they are pretty consistent, you know. They've got 2 AP on the missile, and base value is 12. And over the course of a long game, if you don't attend to killing off the basic gunnery mob, they can actually do an obnoxious amount of damage to you. Oh my god, Solastra's on the crab. How often do you see the big old crab coming out? We got a rotting Leviathan sighting, ladies and gentlemen. This is exciting stuff. Miststalker's out here, even cooler. Oh, I love these guys. This is my favorite ROR in the game, by the way. Behind the Heralds of Khorne's Fury. Heralds of Khorne's Fury, the Miststalkers, and the ROR Rot Knights. Those are probably my top 3 RORs, at least in terms of cool factor. And, you know, they can be pretty decent in a pinch as well. We'll see how these guys do. Lots of javelins here. Wolfric, presumably with Seafang, and Hunter of Champions. Okay, Hunter of Champions is going to be pretty nice to pop on Solastra if given the opportunity. It's going to lower her speed pretty horribly. And reducing the armor on the big crab for the javelins to just nail her with is going to be pretty funny. Gonna be fun to see if that can actually get pulled off here. And I imagine Burning Head. Oh, and Flaming Sword of Ruin. So, some potential answers to Sirens in a pinch. Anything else is ethereal? I mean, I guess the Shade Wraith Gunners, but those are just so bad that if you get in melee with them, they die anyways, so... The Flaming Sword of Ruin's coming out just to answer any of the ethereal units that may come out onto the field. Solastra has physical resist on the Leviathan. I don't think the regular Leviathan has any physical resist. That's interesting. Alright. Anyways, game kicking off here. Vampire deckhand mobs just moving up. They're going to be getting on the middle objective here, probably taking the number 1, but, you know, it's always worth paying attention to where your opponent is. If there's any opportunity to jump up on the number 3, you do want to take that, get some extra points in the bank for your eventual victory. Marauder Berserkers, moving up to the forest. I like including one of these guys. They're pretty good. They can definitely chew through zombies really quickly if given an option. Or if given an opportunity, I should say. Wolfric moving up to the number 1 objective. Gonna be trying to secure this, but probably wants to peel out of here. Doesn't have the biggest health pool in the world, and taking the AP shots from the bats here is not going to be very favorable for Norska. Just moving the Marauders forward and taking it is probably going to be good enough. Miststalkers? Okay. Here's why Famir are actually decent in this matchup. They've got 45% missile resistance at base, as long as they're not in melee, because they get 20% of that from the mist, and they've got 25% base, so it's pretty nice stuff. They're pretty durable against missiles. So actually it's not even in melee, it's actually just if their leadership is higher than 50%, so... Frenzy-esque, pretty cool stuff. The javelins, if they get in range of these deck droppers, will obliterate them in one volley, so Scrambled Egg's going to need to play carefully with them. The deck droppers do have a pretty significant ranged advantage, 130 versus 90, so should be able to keep them nice and safe as long as he stays on top of the micro, which, knowing Scrambled Egg, is probably going to be the case. Very rare that he drops micro in any kind of egregious way. So Lostra's on the number 1 here. And Wolfric is looking to get into combat with her already. Oh, wow, okay. I guess, alright, just thinking about it. Not going to actually go in. Rallying back to the units here a little bit, and probably need to just pull him a little bit more out of range. The deck droppers are not shooting at him, though, so that's really nice. Very fortunate. Because he's not facing towards the deck droppers. He would be taking these volleys full on. Are they lining up for shots on Wolfric? Doesn't look like it. I think they're looking to get after the Famir here. 45% missile resistance is great, but you know, getting shot down by AP missiles regardless would suck. But actually gets a good shot off on the Marauder Horseman. Pulling back a little bit. And it's a very cagey game right now. 1 objective held by the Vampires here. 2 held by the forces of the Norskins. And armies are getting nice and wide here. It looks like both parties are looking for a little bit of a build-up strategy. While Scrambled Egg trading pretty favorably with the deck droppers so far. Going in against the Marauder Horsemen. Doing some nasty work against them. Down about, almost down half their health at this stage already. Celestra chilling here. Deck hands. Just mobs and mobs and mobs of zombies, man. Lots of pole arms. Oh, some depth guard came out. They almost snuck in here, man. You know, they've got the same banner as the zombie pirate, so you really got to pay attention to stuff like that, too, in-game. That can also end up making a big difference for you. And a Sea Fang coming down. Definitely doing some nice damage against these zombies. I don't hate that. That's pretty worth it. Not the most value in the world off of a Sea Fang, but how many other targets you're really going to have the opportunity to drop it on, really, you know? It does good damage to Depth Guard. That's about it. But they're pretty far back in the formation here. Alright, where is Burning Head going to come down first? I would probably just drop it here in the back line. Just try and roast all these guys. Burning Head takes, you know, like curving rotations. Kind of like branches out as it goes along. So if you cast it about here and get 1 unit, it'll probably rotate through and hit something else on the way. It's really not a bad idea to get him in early. But Charix is looking like he might be thinking about it. But Scrambled Egg pulling back a little bit. You can definitely dodge Burning Head in the right circumstance. But having as many units as you do, we've seen how good Burning Head does against this type of gun line. It's just going to come down to whether or not the Norskin infantry and missiles and staying power in general is going to be able to hold in here. More Famir Warriors coming out. I love it. I really love it. Very good unit. Very underrated. But the deck droppers, man, they're just racking up free value here. They're getting some good shots on the horsemen here, dropping more and more models. But with the focus fire coming in on these horsemen, the javelins are staying really healthy. And a Burning Head does come down. Missing its rotation a little bit, hitting the depth guard, doing a little bit of poke against these guys is not anything to sneer at. It's going to be hitting this deckhand mob too, doing some nasty damage probably. Doesn't take the best rotation in the world, but you can see how much it cooked him up. You know, that's not bad. Getting some good damage. I like it. You know, getting some of these gunnery mobs a little bit lower so that you can focus your missiles on the crab a little bit more in the mid-game is going to pay off dividends, I think. And it'll also mean that the javelins trade better into the gunnery mobs, because these guys, you know, they will rout. The crumbling on vampires is punishing, but not terrible. It's not going to send them to their grave super quickly. So we'll see how it plays out. But it just means that there's fewer volleys that you have to trade into these gunnery mobs, potentially before these guys break. Marauders posting up a little bit, pulling back some. The Vampire Coast is finally moving up, looking to get aggressive, and bomber droppers coming in, man. They're going to do some nasty work against the Marauders, but they're getting really aggressive, and they're getting within the danger zone of the Javelins here. Javelins are going to do disgusting damage to these guys. If given the opportunity to fire in, and two of the Javelins are turning their attention onto the Bombers here, dropping them down to about half health. These guys are going to crumble out real fast here, and another great burning head. Hitting the gunnery mob, hitting the bomber mob, not quite hitting the handguns here. If it sticks around, it might hit some of these guys over here, but yeah, one of the bombers is done already. The Vampire Coast is flipping the middle, so they're going to start getting a good amount of cap points. A Tzeentch coming in from the Fimir. Miststalkers getting on top of the deckhand mob. They're a little overextended from their infantry support, but they are going to soak up some of the long-range firepower, and these deck dropper bombers absolutely obliterated by the Javelin Hunters so far. Getting good firepower in on these guys and dealing with them is really great. Damn Knights Errant being summoned out real early. I do like this, though. They're going to get on top of these Javelins and start doing great work against them. Probably going to be able to sweep up both of these guys here. We've got some Marauders moving up on the flank. They're going to get sandwiched by the Night Terrors, though. That's going to be a big flank. These guys are going to start suffering, but they do have immune to psychology as long as the Frenzy is active. And, you know, they do have Berserk. They're going to get some bonuses to their stats as they go. Frostwolves push back here, but more Burning Heads coming in. Just doing filthy amounts of damage. Good rotation on it here. Maybe going to get some good work against these guys. Not quite going down the entire length of them, but doing a decent amount of work on the front line of the formation there. Beasts of Tashnar running around. We got some Marauder Horsemen fighting out here. Depth Guards with pole arms. Getting in on the Marauder Javelins. That's pretty nice for them. They're going to wreck these guys in melee combat. And they'll heal up a little bit, too, with the Hunger. So then they'll be able to probably push through. Maybe get in on the flank here. And they can get on top of the Skinwolves, maybe, who are on top of Salastra. The Beasts of Tashnar, Wulfric, Fimir. Salastra's in deadly danger here. And Javelins throwing in. The Damn Knights Errant are going to sweep these guys, though. So, going to shut down the shooting, but I don't know if Salastra's going to get out of here in time. She's so caught up. Oh, this is devastating for Scrambled Egg. Huge catch for Charix here as you're going. Oh, my goodness. Dropping Fog of the Damned, Song of Enthrallment, everything possible being put in here to try and save her. Tide Call to maybe do some damage to the Beast of Tashnar. Does get some decent work done. And the Skinwolves, the Maws of Savagery with their AP attacks, they're definitely going to finish her off here. Oh, this is huge, and I'm not 100% sure if there's any way that the Vampire Coast is going to be able to rally here. Burning Heads still coming through back here. Absolutely amazing targeting with those 1,900 value. Almost 2,000 on this Fimir Bale Fiend. Absolutely obliterating the forces of the Vampire Coast here. And the Depth Guard with polearms, though, do move up. They're getting some good damage against the Maws of Savagery here. Oh, Salastra down to 600 health and crumbling now. Goodbye. The fat lady has sung her last. And you know what that means, guys. I don't know if it's going to be very good for the Vampire Coast now. We've got the Marauder Berserkers getting blown up here by some of the bombers who have come out here. They're getting some good value. This one staying online a lot longer than the others. Fimir Warriors, man, just bouncing around. Staying nice and durable. Staying very disruptive, getting on top of the gunnery mobs here. Shutting these guys down is really nice. Where are the Miststalkers? Think they might have been dealt with already. Now they're back here. Not great value on them, but, you know, drawing all that fire and giving time for Burning Head to do its work. It's all you really need them to do. They've been doing some good, getting some good value. Just clearing out some of the zombies and the chaff. And they're collapsing on the Night Terrors. They're going to do some good work against them, too. You know, these guys have great leadership. They're pretty low here. Oh man, they might break. That's very unfortunate. Are they suffering? Just losing and flanked by the Depth Guard, who do mop them up. Goodbye, Miststalkers. Not the best display of power from them, but like I said, giving an opportunity for Burning Head to come in here, and man, oh man, these Burning Heads, more great value. 2,300 on the Fimir. Wolfric probably doing good for himself too. Definitely has dropped some Sea Fangs in here and done some good work with those as well. And completely stopping up the advance of the Vampire Coast here. Not flipping the number 2, but in a decent enough position that I think the flip will come in here shortly. Although, I don't know, man. It's pretty thin pickings for the Norskins here, actually. This is, despite killing Solastra, where is the rest of the Norskin army, actually? There's just a handful of guys out here. The Miststalkers somehow rallying yet again. Alright, and Marauder Hunters kiting out back here. Maybe not having enough goods here to retake the middle. This could be pretty devastating, but having said that, Charix was banking up a big reinforcement wave. Marauder Javelins coming in here. Just a horde of guys coming in, and they'll probably be able to start flipping this now. Scrambled Egg does not have any resources banked, so that's going to be pretty rough for him. The Fimir back here doing some good work. You know, taking some counterfire, but they've still got that 45% resistance, and they're chewing through one gunnery mob. Maybe get back here, shut down this other healthy one, because this one is crumbling, and they'll crumble out in a moment here. It's really nice micro from Charix. Not forgetting about these guys. This is where Fimir can really shine, man. Being durable and disruptive on top of missiles is some good stuff. Syrenes running around out here. They are going to be uncontested on this objective out here. If they just jump on now, there's going to have to be an answer to them. On to the number 3. But Scrambled Egg is looking to hold on to the middle here with all these Syrenes, it looks like. Oh, and yes! Awesome cast of Flaming Sword of Ruin. On top of the Marauder Horsemen, who are going to get some great damage against the Syrenes with their magic attacks now. Good call by Scrambled Egg, pulling them out. And the Depth Guard with polearms folding in as well. They're going to start ripping through the Horsemen. Charix pulling back ASAP. But still going to get some fire on the Syrenes as he pulls out. Not the best Flaming Sword of Ruin, but still getting a little bit of value in there against those guys. Scurvy Dogs trying to chase. Does need to make sure that these guys can escape through the lines of infantry and get into a position to start getting some value with their javelins. Deck Droppers out of ammo. Jumping on top of the javelins here, doing some good work. Berserker Hordes, Norscan Ice Wolves, more Marauder Horsemen. The Norscan Tides are really coming in, but Wolfric on top of the polearms a little too long here. 3,200 value on the polearms. Oh my god. That is incredible. The Depth Guard polearms maybe going to carry this game for the Vampire Coast here. Like I said, these guys are really great players, and they're definitely keeping this game nice and close for us. This is an absolute slobber knocker of one. Absolutely amazing word, by the way. Countercharging the Syrenes here. Going to get a little bit of poke against them. Norscan Ice Wolves have good weapon strength. And, yeah, their melee attack may be debuffed to be pretty low because of Charmed, but they'll still do good damage against these Syrenes. Wolfric and the Fimir able to get away here. 2,300 and 1,400 here. What is going to kill these Depth Guard? Oh my god, man. That is fat value. I mean, I don't think I've seen a Depth Guard polearm get that much value in a hot minute here. They're folding in on the Norscan Ice Wolves, who really need to get out of here. The Depth Guard are going to shred them unbelievably fast if they do not pull out now. These AP Halberds already karate chopping one of these little doggos. And yeah, there you go. Starting to cut through them nice and quick. They take them out one at a time because of the really good weapon strength on these guys. 48 before you calculate the 28 bonus versus large. The Norscan Ice Wolves actually get terrified, which I think is a blessing in disguise here. It's pretty nice. The Depth Guard with polearms could continue their amazing work here by getting on top of this Fimir Balefiend, who's surrounded by the Syrenes. Although, killing Wolfric wouldn't be a bad idea either. He is danger close in here. Very risky plays from Charix, but I guess kind of warranted, all things considered. Some Marauders with great weapons coming in. They're not going to trade great even into the polearm depth guard, man. And I'm loving this. The depth guard with polearms, they didn't hear no bell after Celestia went down. They're coming in here and they're putting this game on their back. More terror routes going down on the Marauders. Norska is going to lose this objective here. They were starting to flip it, but they're just not going to be able to have the cap weight here. More deck dropper bombers coming in. They're a lot more free to get their damage in here this time around. Taking some javelin fire from the horsemen, and these javelin marauders also getting some good overlapping fire on them. So they are going to be able to deal with these guys, but they do get shot away by the gunnery mob, and Wulfric, very lonely out here. Dead on the ground. Poor guy. The Hunter of Champions, he hunted his last skull here, I think. And oh my goodness, the vampire counts, I would say this is a huge comeback. I mean, Vampire Coast losing their lord and not carrying a lick here. The Marauder Berserkers will be annoying to deal with, but Gunnery Mob just post these guys up like right here. Oh, getting a nice volley on the Horsemen, but could pull back and get fire onto the Berserkers here and do some really nice work against them. And I think that would pretty much be game. The Norskin leadership is going to be a lot worse now that Wulfric is dead. And yeah, Celostra's gone, but like I said, crumbling is a lot less punishing than routing, and a lot less punishing than demonic instability as well. So, you know, losing your lord and having the passive crumbling happen a little sooner, it does suck, but it's not nearly as bad as the position that the Norskins are in. Norska's not a low leadership faction, but when they lose their lord, it can start getting really dicey, and you can see an awful lot of units routing and an awful lot of punishing fire coming in from the gunnery mobs here, who really don't have anything to fear now that the burning heads are offline. 2,400 value is great, but not able to deal with the successive waves of the gunnery mobs coming in with the depth guard support is going to end up being GG, I think, for the Norskins here. How much do these guys have? 3,600 value depth guard with polearm here. Vicious. Absolutely vicious stuff here, man. These guys are basically healing capped, and they really haven't been getting any heals, too, so that'll tell you how many favorable targets they've been fighting here. Leadership is tanking now. They're probably going to start crumbling in a minute. It does rally, and they're going to hold up these Berserkers for quite a while the gunnery mob turning about face and supporting their brethren here, and you can see how good the volleys are doing, man. Herein lies the end of the Norskin hordes, gunned down ignominiously by a bunch of disgusting barnacled men. Look at these guys. Look at the way they're holding these guns. That's not how you hold a firearm, silly billies. But I guess you don't really need training when you're undead. You just do what you're told at the end of the day, I guess. Firearms training, be damned. Who needs it? Just point and click, boys. Mouse on your way to victory here. And yeah, look at the crab. I love the dead crab model in the field. Very cinematic, very cool. Got Mournghulls fighting in here. Now that the Night Terrors are up here, they're really going to start terror routing an awful lot of the Norskins. And the triple caps in. Oh my god, this game is so obscenely close. Scrambled Egg just edging it out here, it looks like. Getting the, just holding these double caps, man, and just grinding down the Norskins. Vicious attritional battle there in the opening round of our best of 3. Whew, okay. I'm excited for the next game. Scrambled Egg up 1-0 over Charix. Can Charix make the comeback happen? He almost had that one. Close on tickets, close on value. Losing Wulfric there was painful. And not having an answer to those depth guard, 4,000 value depth guard. What are you going to do about that, man? Absolutely filthy stuff from those polearms. Oh my god. GG, guys. Really GG there. Holy crap. Let's go give Chark some credit here. Oh my god, okay. And we got Sharks and Penguins replay, so we might do that before we close it out today. That way you can see the other semifinals game. We already know what happened, but such is life. Can't win them all. It'll be a good game regardless, I'm sure. Alright, guys. They're going to be setting up for Game 2 here, and we'll swap away. I'm going to go, we'll go do some reading time. Alright. So this is the Identifying the Aggressor, Advanced Domination Guide by Housecat of War. One of the top players in the community. Hasn't played a lot this season, but somebody who I've played and can personally attest to their skill, so certainly knows what they're talking about. Magic the Gathering has a famous article called Who's the Beatdown? That describes the problem players fall into when they incorrectly identify the aggressor deck versus the control deck in a matchup. I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, but if you do, a little bit of extra context. Most matchups are easy to figure out. True. Fast aggressive decks are the aggressors against control and mid-range decks. Mid-range decks are the aggressor against control decks. The problem arises when both players have similar decks. Playing aggressively when you actually have the less aggressive deck is a sure way to lose. Domination is similar. In Khorne vs. Cathay, Khorne is clearly the aggressor. But what about Khorne vs. Norska, or Cathay vs. Dwarves? The goal of this article is to lay out a few questions you can use to identify if you're the aggressor and what being the aggressor and the defender looks like in practice. Identifying the aggressor in domination is more complicated than it seems, because there are multiple ways to be aggressive. Very true. Very, very true here. This is probably the most important thing to take away from this. There are a variety of ways to get in there and do stuff. Heavy melee factions are generally thought of as more aggressive, but some range strategies also rely on aggression. For example, Leadbelcher Ogre builds want to push forward and start shooting as quickly as possible. True. You don't want to let Leadbelcher sit and do nothing. The question is most important at the beginning of the match, but the aggressor can also change during a match depending on the relative strength of the armies. Who controls the objectives and how many points they have, and what units are on the field. This article builds on my Getting Started in Competitive Domination guide here, which explains the basic terms and concepts I'll reference. I'll talk a little bit about that too. I will frequently talk about taking good engagements, which I discuss in detail in this article. Read all of these things, and they'll help you get the basics, but still, even without knowing these things, knowing the aggressor and defender ideas here is very important. Happy to answer DMs with this article or any Total War topic. Find me in the Collegium section of the RTK Discord here. Go visit the Collegium for RTK, guys. They are a great clan, very cool people, and do definitely know what they're talking about, so it's worth going over there and chatting with those guys. Alright. What does it mean to be the aggressor? Hold on. Hello. I scramble like being cheeky here. The aggressor in domination is the player who needs to proactively respond to their opponent's threats. One way to decide whether you should be the aggressor at any moment in the game is asking whether your chances of winning the decisive engagement are greater now or later. If you benefit from the current game state, continuing, then you are the defender. Being the aggressor does not mean you need to immediately rush your opponent. You kind of saw that last game. Charix was the aggressive faction, quote-unquote, and held back for quite a while. mostly because he had the objective advantage, but also Burning Head and being able to countershoot with the javelins was very important. He did not need to throw his front line in and crush the Vampire Coast, so to speak. He had an opportunity to be aggressive in other ways, and took the opportunity to do so as the defender. This is a major difference between being the aggressor in Domination versus a card game like Magic, where a beatdown deck must attack as early and hard as possible, because the longer your opponent's control deck survives, the more powerful it becomes. In Domination, the aggressor may be the one who benefits from delay by building up. As the aggressor, you will need to proactively attack your opponent, but when you should depends on other factors. For example, if your opponent is shelling you with artillery, you are the aggressor and need to take some kind of proactive action to stop your opponent from continually gaining a value advantage. This could mean advancing to shut down their artillery, but it could also mean falling back out of the artillery's range to build up for a more favorable attack later. If your opponent controls 2 objectives to your 1, then you are the aggressor, because you will eventually need to attack and take at least 1 point from them. However, the urgency to launch that attack depends on how many points each of you has. Another thing that you kind of saw in the last game. Scrambled Egg was very, very deliberate about taking that 1 objective on the side, and then kind of holding there, waiting for the depth guard with polearms to come out, who ended up being the unit that carried the game. And just trading with the deck dropper handguns, and developing out some bombers that they didn't do too hot, but that's a whole nother discussion. But you can kind of see that in the last game. Scrambled Egg only moved up when it became absolutely necessary to engage the Norskins, and when he felt like he had an opportunity to outtrade them. As the defender, you want to put your opponent on a clock, meaning that the longer the game goes on, the more assured your victory is. There are 2 ways to do this in Domination. Pressuring them by inflicting damage on their army to gain a value advantage, and pressuring them by accumulating points. However, these methods are in conflict. The defender wants to inflict as much damage as possible on the aggressor before the decisive engagement while protecting their own forces. Holding all 3 objectives spreads out your forces and makes it easier for your opponent to attack an unsupported party of your army, then snowball that value advantage to win the game. This is generally why high-level Dom players will tell you not to push 3 objectives. Holding 2 is more than enough to win the game. And you can hold 2 objectives and eventually put your opponent in position where they have to take all 3 objectives. That's another important distinction. You can play for time if you hold 2 objectives all day. You don't have to win so hard that you just completely crush your opponent. That can definitely put you in a hole if you're not careful. There are 3 important questions to ask yourself at the start of each match to determine whether you are the aggressor or the defender. Who has the range advantage? Who has the mobility advantage? And who has the build-up advantage? For Conquest, these are the 2 that are important. But for Domination, since they're reinforcements, build-up and summoning out the right units at the right time, absolutely key. You can lose a game by summoning out a super expensive unit that you might be thinking is going to be doing some work, but who's going to get countered by a bunch of, other units your opponent might have that value trade into it. The first thing to look at here is who has the artillery advantage. Faction without artillery is the aggressor. The defender can use their artillery to inflict constant damage on the opponent until they either fall back outside of artillery range, surrendering the objectives, or attacking to eliminate the artillery. Sometimes this is straightforward to determine. Since not all factions have good artillery, or any at all, if you take a cannon against Norska, you can be certain you have the artillery advantage. But in matchups between factions with good artillery, you won't know who has the advantage until you see the opponent's army. Artillery duels tend to go to the side with the most artillery, and losing the artillery duel usually means losing the game. Therefore, in these matchups, builds tend to commit completely to winning the artillery duel with max artillery and supporting units, or giving up the artillery game completely to focus on the opponent. So, you know, you can get a Vampire Coast game where someone brings like 3 carronades in a mortar, and their opponent just brings an absolute load of Mournguls and deckhand mobs and just rushes points. That's an example where that exact scenario can play out. Factions not known for their artillery can also surprise you. The Warriors of Chaos might bring double hell cannons, hoping to flip the expected artillery advantage. I have lost an Ogre Kingdoms game exactly like this. Martinius brought double hell cannon against me, and the hell cannons just killed my lead belchers. I thought that bringing 1 lead belcher would be very safe against Warriors of Chaos, but it ended up being a liability because I couldn't protect them against the range. And then the hell cannons just swapped to focusing down the other ogre units in my army once they were done killing the lead belchers. And I couldn't get on the cannons because my army wasn't wide enough. If you brought a single cannon, expecting it to force the Chaos Army to advance and attack on ground of your choosing, you will need to quickly recognize that you are the aggressor and figure out how to attack instead. Something I could have definitely taken into consideration in that game I was just talking about. Short and medium-ranged units like handgunners and archers do not control nearly as much space as artillery, so range superiority in these units is more limited in putting pressure on your opponent. They can still provide overwatch on objectives to support your troops trying to occupy it or punish your opponent for trying to take it, but their value is primarily earned through effective micro during the decisive engagement, rather than pressuring your opponent at the macro level. We've been making jokes all day about macro and micro. This entire question is macro. If you learn the macro, the 90% of the game that's macro, then your micro is what can determine the rest of the game for you. And then you can become the Dark Lord of Total Warhammer multiplayer if you're good enough. Alright, let's get back down. The exception is fast-range units that can inflict damage on the opponent while avoiding taking much damage back. These skirmishers are valuable for putting your opponent on clock, both via value and points. Their direct damage will slowly build a value that will tilt the decisive engagement in your favor. High Elf Illyrian Reaver Archers do the best job of doing exactly this. They are stupendously accurate. They're incredibly fast. 95 speed, I think. And they're just great. They pressure objectives and they also value trade. That's the perfect example for what House Cat's talking about here. They can also capture and contest objectives while your main force stays safe and concentrated. Another good example. High Elf Infantry and Lords tend to be very expensive, so their main engagement force tends to be very small. So the Reaver Archers do all the capping, they do the early value trading, and they try to get into positions where they force their opponent out of position and give you an opportunity to use your limited numbers to get the best possible engagement. Both put more pressure on your opponent to attack you on your terms. However, the effectiveness of skirmishers is determined by the next important question: who has the mobility advantage? It's also important to consider, if your opponent is Vampire Coast and they've got like 2 carronades, they can probably lock down 2 objectives, and then your Illyrian Reaver Cavalry are in danger because they cannot get on the point and cap for free, and they'll get punished pretty hard by getting on the objectives if artillery is covering them. So, who has the mobility advantage? Army with the mobility advantage has the luxury of spreading out and contesting multiple objectives. Khorne loves doing this. Khorne is almost always faster than their opponent. Khorne's worst matchups, in my opinion, are Wood Elves, Slaanesh, Beastmen, and who else? Demons of Chaos. All of whom have fast options that can do exactly what Khorne does, but a little bit better and a little more consistently. But, you know, spreading out with Fleshhounds and being the army that, you know, you've got all those Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, you've got Fleshhounds, you've got Chaos Warhounds, you've got Furies, you've got Bloodletters, you've got a lot of quick stuff in that army. So that's an example for Housecat's little talking point here. This lets them force their opponent to become the aggressor and lets them fight, avoiding the opponent's main force until it is on favorable terms. This is absolutely crucial to beating greenskins as Khorne. You will lose if you push a greenskin horde. They will have archers. Their archers will kill all of your lightly armored mobility, and then eventually they will just grind down your elite infantry, and that sucks. If you play much more spread apart and attack objectives and force the greenskins to lean into playing a mobile playstyle, you will win as Khorne. That's a good example. Army with the mobility objective or mobility advantage wants to contest all 3 objectives and accumulate a points lead. Their victory... Hold on. Okay. Just checking. They're picking their armies now, and we'll get into Game 2 in just a second. Their victory condition is still destroying the opponent's army, true, but putting objective pressure on their opponent is how they force them to become the aggressor and attack on ground that favors the defender. Skull Cannons. That's why I think Skull Cannons, despite all of the jank that Skull Cannons bring to the table, are a matchup flipping unit for Khorne. They are a long-range artillery piece that is very mobile. You can go run over infantry on an objective. They're heavily armored. They're fast. They have a decent amount of ammo. And they heal and get more ammo in melee. They are the perfect example of being able to be both an artillery piece and a mobility piece. So... Try them out, guys. I promise you, if you get good with Skull Cannon Micro, you're going to win a lot more matchups than you might think Khorne is capable of winning right now. First, you do not need to leave troops on side objectives once you have taken them. Your mobility advantage means that if your opponent sends a single unit to take the objective, you can send a unit that counters it, either from your main force or summoned from your reinforcements. It's a very good point here. You know, if your opponent brings an Orc Boy out, and you just capped an objective with Skull Cannons, just send the Skull Cannons back, and just absolutely run over those Orc Boys. It's free value. It's free real estate. If your opponent tries to reinforce their isolated unit, your superior mobility means you can reinforce faster and or with stronger units, so the engagement should remain in your favor. Fighting a smaller part of the enemy army is exactly the opportunity the mobile defender needs to turn their mobility advantage into a value advantage. On the flip side, an aggressor with a mobility disadvantage wants to keep their forces concentrated. This generally means they attack objectives one at a time with their entire force, or at least a majority. Vampire counts are almost always the aggressor because they have absolutely no ranged. You know, they have to go and get on objectives and just hold them. So they are the kind of army that will usually make 2 big blobs and go sit on objectives and force you to either shoot them off or engage in melee, which is not a good idea. If you can't kill the vampire counts at range, you're probably not going to beat them. That's just my 2 cents. They benefit from maps where objectives are close together, or that have a safe objective that can be weakly held by while the main force pushes. Second, the army with the mobility advantage can rotate between objectives faster. When the aggressor pushes their whole army onto a point you control, you should use your superior mobility to rotate your forces away from that objective and onto the objective they just abandoned. Apostate would know all about this. I've played so many games against him where I'm playing Khorne with the Skull Cannons, and he brings elite, he brings Plague Bearers and Exalted Plague Bearers, and takes an objective from me, and I can't contest that, so I have to go somewhere else. And Apostate, you do a great job of countering Khorne mobility. You're very good at it. It is a skill set that you should cherish. You could rotate fast enough that you would always control 2 points to their 1 without ever fighting their main army. This is easier said than done. You know, in an ideal world. Housecat definitely giving the appropriate what's the word? Condition to that, you know. You're not always going to be able to control 2 points without engaging. In practice, armies are rarely sufficiently fast to achieve this. True, exactly. Even if you have an overall mobility advantage, your opponent's mobile units will almost certainly be faster than your slowest units. Plague Toads are much faster than Bloodletters and absolutely obliterate Bloodletters. Instead, what rotating between points accomplishes is stressing your opponent's micro and ability to hold their formation together. By forcing them to constantly move back and forth between objectives, you hope that some units will run ahead of the army or lag behind, and the mobile faction can attack them with local superiority. This is like the breakdown of Mongol tactics in a nutshell. Like, having an entirely mounted force, from a historical perspective, just gave them an obscene level of mobility that for, the entirety that their empire was controlling half of the known world, nobody could touch them. They would obliterate infantry and then just run away from cavalry. Or they would draw cavalry out into the open field where they would just completely swarm them down and obliterate them with their superior bows and ranged options. You want to be the Mongols if you're playing mobility. You do not want to end up like the Rus and get absolutely bodied by, Genghis Khan. Being more mobile offers other advantages, like being able to dive key units in your opponent's army, or cycle charging. Cycle charging is very important, guys. You need to cycle charge with your cavalry. But there are micro-level tactics rather than macro-level... Oh, but these are micro-level tactics rather than the macro-level decisions we are focused on here. The degree of mobility advantage... Hold on, let me check one more time. It's going to be Vampire Counts versus High Elves, by the way. So, Charix is picking armies still. We're good to keep going here. The degree of mobility advantage an army has matters a lot. A larger mobility advantage is easier to exploit. But the more an army invests in mobility, the weaker it will be in a melee grind or against ranged fire. In matchups where the armies have similar mobility, both sides should try to rotate between objectives to gain local superiority. Several factors contribute to how strong an army's mobility is, how many mobile units they have, how fast their units are relative to your opponent's mobile units, and how effective your mobility is in a fight against the opponent's mobile units. That's like I said earlier when we were talking about macro and micro. Knowing on a macro level what units beat what units in a vacuum and in conjunction with other units in your army is paramount. You have to know this. That's how Scrambled Egg, and Charix, here, let me show y'all, are up here at the top on the leaderboard. Like the number 2 and 4 playing right now. These guys understand these concepts. They are experts on these concepts, and then they focus their micro in from their expertise in knowing these concepts. Okay. Sometimes it is simple to identify which army has the mobility advantage. For example, Lizardmen are at a mobility disadvantage against Beastmen, whose mobile units like Minotaurs and Centaurs are not only faster than Coldwind Cavalry, but also trade well into them. Very true. In addition, Centaurs, a mobile unit, are excellent at shutting down skink skirmishers. Centaurs have those crappy little brass shields that they just run in, and if they get on top of a chameleon skink, they will win that combat. Either that or trade evenly. And Centaurs are 700 gold, chameleons are 650. Losing that ranged unit for the lizard sucks. So, that's a great example. In many matchups, either army could have the mobility advantage, depending on how many resources they have invested in mobile units. For example, Khorne has a bit better mobile units than Norska, but it's close enough that Norska could have the advantage if they invest more resources into it. Super true. Alright, I'm going to stop talking about this now because they're getting back into game, so we're going to swap over. Oh my god, okay. Alright, guys. For those of you who are here, Game 2's kicking off now. We've got an absolute wild one upcoming here from the Forces of the High Elves, helmed by Charix, versus the Master Necromancer Horde, led by Scrambled Egg Special here. We've got Peckless, 2 Silverin Guards, a Swordmaster of Hoeth, the Talons of Torquilita. Excuse me for the burp, by the way, guys. Incredibly rude of me. But yeah, Talons of Torquilita and an Arcane Phoenix. So an Air Force, basically. Old Peckless on the Arcane Phoenix, I imagine. Which is fun. Very cool option here. Okay, Flock of Doom, Regrowth, Net of Amontok. Lots of spell options here for Peckless. Potion of Koroi, the Bound Fiery Convo. This spell is so good. Just the bound version's good enough. Exactly, what a game for the chat we just had. This is, you know, this is where you see these kind of things in play. You know? Like, mobility advantage, right off the bat, High Elves. I mean, they've got these 2 big birds. These big birds can go beat up on whatever they want to in the early going here. They've got a ranged advantage just by virtue of being High Elves against, you know, a faction that literally does not have a ranged or artillery option. But they are definitely at a disadvantage when it comes to grinding into this army. There are an awful lot of units here that High Elves are not going to be able to carve through with 4 ground units. So they're going to have to play the mobility game and use their range that they do bring out to maximum effect. I can't imagine they're bringing a ton. Talons of Torquilita are good enough to kill corpse carts on their own. It's going to be protecting these guys that becomes the most important thing for the High Elves here. So, looks like Charix is going to take the number 1. And maybe play around the number 2. But there is a lot of forest cover here that Scrambled Egg can sit in if he wants to and push out onto the objective without taking a lot of bow fire. So I think what's going to happen, Charix takes a defensive position here. Talons of Torquilita, you've got your Swordmasters here, Spears here, just trying to protect those guys. The Arcane Phoenix and Peckless, they kind of jump back and forth between the number 3 over here and the number 1. And I would guess that the number 1 is going to get pressured by some kind of skirmish cav to get the objective quickly. And then just try and pull apart the Vampire Count army. That's the best way to go about this, probably. Killing corpse carts, man, you gotta kill them. I'm telling you, you gotta kill corpse carts. Might be easier said than done. There are Blood Knights on the field? What? Okay. We've got the elite Blood Knights out here. Not often that I see Scrambled Egg bringing them, but they're going to show their stuff here. I think Blood Knights are a great unit. 2 Spearmen coming out. They're going to help hold the number 1. So it is definitely going to be Charix building up a force that's going to be able to push the number 2 later in the game, I think. Trying to win some of the mobility engagements out here and doing some damage to eventually grind back onto the points and get a points lead. So flying very aggressively up over the Blood Knights here is the Arcane Phoenix and Peckless. Are they going to land here and fight these guys? There's no way, right? I mean, this seems mad. I mean, it's so close to the reinforcement point. Yeah. Charix does pull back. That's a really good call. There's a lot of points being banked up by Scrambled Egg. Curious what he's going to be bringing out, but that was really smart. You know, these Blood Knights, if the birds had jumped on them out here, that would have been really bad for these guys. They would have picked off models, done a lot of damage to them. But bringing them back here, right by the spawn point, you do not want to fight here with the Arcane Phoenix. Phoenix is going after Master Necromancer here, and there is a Net of Amontok. Oh, man. Jump out here and just get Net of Amontok on top of the Master Necromancer while he's in the air, and you've probably got GG. Because you'll kill him, and all of the spells and raise deads and everything are suddenly offline. I believe if you use net, you do actually pull him up into the air, so even using it here wouldn't be bad. You can force him up into the air. But there is a horde of Vargeist coming, so... Double Vargeist answering the Arcane Phoenixes. They do pretty decent damage versus SEs. So Charek's not really getting an opportunity to go in deep. Definitely going to need to play a little more defensively here. But, oh my god. Maybe not. Maybe just going to go all in here. Oh, does have Flock of Doom. Oh, kills one Vargeist already. That's pretty nice. Alright, let's go. The Angry Birds for the High Elves. Going all out for blood here. Let's see what he does. Teclis is going after the Master Necromancer here. Scramble Egg, dodging away really nicely there. Pulling him around and through his Vargeist, getting away from there. Oh man, the Vargeist jumping on top of Teclis. He's very lonely here. We'll see what he can do. He does have a lot of healing. The potions of Koroi are really nice. Popping it, getting the damage resistance, and a little bit of healing. Not really needing the healing so much. But these birds are starting to trade pretty favorably here. This is only usable on Teclis, okay. But, you know, having the regrowth, that Arcane Phoenix is going to get some nice healing. When given an opportunity here, this formation's looking scary. The Talons of Torquilita are going to get wrecked if they get charged down. They have very light armor. I think that was definitely worth it. Scrambled Egg got some good value there, fighting against the Arcane Phoenixes, but, oh man, there they go. White Kings with the Scabs Wraiths, guys. Dropping them nicely on top of the Talons of Torquilita here, doing some great work. Flock of Doom coming in, an upgraded Flock of Doom, so extra duration on that. Poking through the health on the Blood Knights really nicely. Taking about 2,000 health off those guys is pretty huge. And keeping the value nice and even. And the Sword Masters of Hoeth here, scaring the hell out of these zombies who are retreating. You've never seen undead run for their lives, but you are today. Oh, and the White Kings getting attacked by the old Teclis here. And he's doing some nice work against these guys, working them down really well. You know, doesn't have a lot of armor, so the weapon strength on these White Kings is actually going to be pretty good here. And do some pretty good damage against them. Let's see. Ooh, come on. Let's go Teclis. I'm rooting for Charix. I want to see a game 3, guys. I'm going to be honest. Good heal. I believe that was an invo. Went down on the Vargeists, getting them a little bit healthier. And they're hovering over the corpse card for the extra healing. That's a pretty MLG play, quite honestly. Oh man, the White Kings might be in trouble here. They don't have any cover with zombies. Oh, and the great call, getting the Swordmasters of Hoeth on top of these guys. They're going to get absolutely shredded by these elite anti-infantry Swordmasters, man. And the Vargeist dive here. They're going to do pretty decently, but we've got Fireborn out here. Towns of Torquilita are getting some good fire. Nice zombie summon on top of them. Really, really good call, shutting down the Talons. Opening salvos. One White King does go down, which is pretty huge. Getting rid of the Scabs Wraiths is very important. Those are very annoying. And, yeah, double zombie summon on the Talons here. Complete surround on Teclis and the Arcane Phoenix here, fighting against 4 Vargeists. Pretty heavy metal. That is a filthy Flock of Doom. That's going to do obscene amounts of damage to all these Vargeists. Let's just watch this tick up, man. There is an invo to counter that, though, so that's really nicely done. And the Arcane Phoenixes are going to land here and drag the Vargeist down, potentially, but Scrambled recognizing that, staying nice and airborne with these fellas. Doing a good job of keeping the Vargeist core alive, you know. They've taken a lot of damage, though. This game is too close to call right now, obviously. I mean, it is incredibly close. But these Spearmen are about to get punished really hard. Net of Amontok upgraded. Being dropped on the Vargeist. A little bit of shooting from the Talons of Torquilita, who did get away from the zombie summons. One of them dissipated. The other getting taken out by Rangers. Swordmasters of Hoeth collapsing into combat here in the front line, and the Cryptars are going down here, getting rid of the ground forces, and get this Arcane Phoenix to kill the Corpse Cart now. It's got flaming damage, right? Yeah. Oh, a filthy, fiery Convocation coming in. Oh my god, and the Vargeist getting deleted by the Dragon Prince and the Fireborn. Charging in on the rear here, obliterating the Vargeist core. One unit still kind of trapped up down here. Oh, it's just one guy. But look at that damage on them. One good charge, wrecking these Vargeist. It's going to take a while for them to get healed up and be mobile and available for a Scrambled Egg to use. Ooh, overcasting the regrowth, which does a little bit of damage to Teclis, but that'll heal up really nicely. Corpse Cart does manage to survive. The Arcane Phoenix did some nice work. Not able to finish it off, though. Look at the value on Teclis and the Arcane Phoenix so far. 2,100 on Teclis, 16 on the Arcane Phoenix. That's pretty nice, man. And the Fireborn, they're going to get some nice charges in here. They're just dumpstering zombies right now. How do they only have 12 value? Did they not do all that damage to the Vargeist? What the hell did that then? I have no idea, but the Vargeist core is getting beat up pretty badly, and they're in a pretty nasty fight here. Teclis and the Arcane Phoenix do have quite a bit of health to work with. Teclis might want to think about starting to retreat, playing a little more conservatively with him, and you know, dropping a regrowth on the Arcane Phoenix to keep fighting is going to be really nice. But continuing the pressure here, and trying to crumble these guys out. I would love to see another Flock of Doom here, maybe, but we'll have to see. Sword of Teclis gives good reserves, and you know, he recharges his magic pretty decently with the Greater Arcane Conduit. So, really nice caster unit. Definitely need to get some more effect out of the magic here, though, because despite getting some pretty good trades here, only has one objective, and the value is, or the tickets are starting to creep up in favor of the old vampire counts here. Where are the Blood Knights? Where are the Blood Knights? They're over here. Oh no, those are Black Knights. Did the Blood Knights get killed? Oh no. I think Blood Knights got killed somewhere in here. I completely missed it. I'll have to go back in the replay and check that out at some point. I have no idea what happened to them. I've been so focused on Teclis and the Arcane Phoenix doing their thing that I completely missed the cavalry fight. Oh man, the Fireborn with 2,100 value. That's looking a lot more appropriate for what I was expecting from them. So maybe they killed the Blood Knights over here just a second ago or something. I have no idea where they are. Yeah, here are the Blood Knights. They're all dead out here, so they must have gotten hit by the Fireborn at some point and completely obliterated, man. What a scrappy game. Charix is getting right back in this, and the value leads are very even, and usually that's going to favor vampire counts, but the healing on the High Elves is pretty insane here. Teclis needs to stay pretty safe. Very low, doesn't have a lot of room on the healing cap, so I'd probably just use him defensively at this point. Arcane Phoenix, it can definitely do some work. Oh no, landing on the ground though, and the Dire Packer right here. Uh-oh, this might be a game-turning play here. I don't know why the Arcane Phoenix decided to land on the ground, maybe to get after the Master Necromancer, but getting stopped up in here by the Vargeist and the Dire Pack on top of this very vulnerable Phoenix. Not a lot of armor on this guy, and those anti-large attacks are going to start stacking up really quick. Master Necromancer is really putting himself in danger here. It's going to come down to this fight, maybe, for who wins this game. If the Arcane Phoenix breaks or dies, it could get really scary. I guess maybe counting on this Fiery Rebirth here. It is a 50% chance to miscast. We're going to have to watch this, man. No, he does die? Does not get the Fiery Rebirth. That's devastating. Oh, no. Dead Arcane Phoenix. Nothing to pressure the Master Necromancer now. And Teclis is so low. If he loses Teclis here, it's going to be game. The High Elves. Oh, man. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen here. This is chaos. There is a corpse cart here. There is a White King. There are still some Vargeist and Cryptars. I think they'd be able to grind down the High Elves here eventually and maybe just outright hold the objective for the rest of the game. And the leadership loss is going to really start to hurt. Oh, no. Losing this Arcane Phoenix, dude. That's so unlucky. You hate to see the 50-50 go against you. The High Elves are not out of the game. They are not out of this game. They've still got a path to victory, but it's going to be a lot harder now. Oh my god, and Teclis is dead too. I don't know, guys. I really don't know about this one. Charix might not get the chance to play Game 3 here. Very unfortunate losses to the very important SEs here. Teclis dead, Arcane Phoenix dead, and Vampire Counts, not the healthiest army in the world. So certainly some room to grind against them still, but I just fear that what's going to happen, Scrambled Egg has a decent amount saved up. He's probably going to get another Vargeist in here. And the Fireborn are just a little too tattered, as well as these Dragon Princes, to be able to put this game on their back. I just don't see that happening, and I think it's going to be GG from here. Shadow Warriors coming out. I'm curious to see how they can do. Getting a little bit of fire in there, and the Talons of Torquilita coming back out. 1,200 value on them. Playing nicely. Doing some good work. More Shadow Warriors. I just don't know about these guys. They're going to be so vulnerable to Vargeist charges. Or the Black Knights. You know, Black Knights with the Lances and Barding are pretty good. They've got a massive charge bonus of 75. They actually crush a lot of units on the charge. Pretty convincingly, too, at times. So, getting good damage here. And some Vargeist assisting against the Fireborn here, who do have 3,200 value. These guys holding up really well and trying to put their game on their backs, but I don't think they're going to be able to. They do break here, and the Vargeist just get on top of these Talons, get on top of the Shadow Warriors here in a minute, who are already pretty beat up, man. Spearmen barely holding on to this objective against the Spearmen. It's an opportunity for a rear charge here. Get a Direwolf out and just go right onto the rear of this unit. If you can, like, turn your opponent's formations, by the way, kind of like what Scrambled's done here, it's also a pretty good situation for yourself. You can do some really fun stuff with just summoning out of Vanguards and getting immediate rear charges onto units. It's pretty good stuff. Scrambled Egg with another Vargeist, and I don't think that the mobility is healthy enough for the High Elves here. The Arcane Phoenix is back out, but the infantry are being tidied up here. The Swordmasters are the only thing left here. They've got an okay value for sure. Rangers, 412 kills, and they didn't pay for themselves. Oh, I'm sick to my stomach thinking about that. Silver and Guard did pay for themselves. It's crazy. Zarix? Okay, fair enough. I've just always heard Turin pronounce it Charix, so that's how I'm continuing on with it. But Zarix losing a lot of the Shadow Warriors out here to the Vargeist swarms. The Scrambled Egg doing a great job of swarming this battlefield with high damage DPS mobility. And these Spearmen are about to get rear charged and broken in about half a second here. Scrambled Egg with great control, making sure these guys get far enough away so they get the collapsing, diving, swooping attacks that the Vargeist are famous and renowned for at this point. And you can see the leadership immediately tanking for these guys. It's definitely going to be GG's here. For the Force of the High Elves, they're at triple cap range, I believe. They do have the number 3, so they've got 2 objectives, but they're going to lose it right back. And I don't think that they're going to be able to move around the battlefield effectively enough to take any of these points. Where is the Arcane Phoenix? Completely surrounded by Crypt Horrors and White Kings right now. Is it fighting? It doesn't really look like it's fighting. I think Zarix is trying to micro it out of here, but it's too surrounded. I don't think it's going to be able to escape. It's poisoned. It's being beaten down. There's higher mass units around it. It's only 2,300 mass, and Crypt Horrors are 1,500 each. It's a little too much. Little too much for it. Be better off fighting with this thing and just hoping that it can value trade some. Yeah. Complete collapse of the High Elves here. Sandwich on these Spearmen who are being ground down by zombies. Imagine being killed by a zombie and you're 1,500 plus year old High Elf. I mean, absolutely disgusting. Vargeist coming in to help clean these guys up, and the last pockets of Elven resistance are selling their lives dearly here. But unfortunately for them, it's all a little too much for them. And they are broken. Some Dragon Princes coming out. Okay, I like it. Charix scrapping here to the end, which I do appreciate, man. You know, never give up on a game. You'd be surprised how many bad situations you can grind your way back into. Arcane Phoenix with 3,300 health. That game was so freaking close, guys. That was like a razor's edge from being a game for Charix there. I think if the Arcane Phoenix had gotten the Fiery Rebirth instead of just exploding there, I think that game would have swung to the High Elves. I think that the Arcane Phoenix from that point, there weren't a lot of Vargeists on the field left. I think it would have been able to go get the Master Necromancer, just chase him off into Oblivion or outright kill him, and then the Arcane Phoenix for Teclis could have played a little more defensively and just controlled the battlefield and continued casting some of those spells. You know, Flock of Doom, Regrowth were still on the table, and losing both of those units ended up being the turning point for the Vampire Counts, who were in a bit of a hole at that point of the game, but Scrambled Egg just persistent and not giving any room there for the High Elves to just continue to grind value. Really, really cagey stuff. They've just become more troops of the Vampire Count army. That's 100% true. Oh, wow. What a great series of games there. Boom. All right, and we've got some. We've got a lot of replays for tomorrow to do of the new player tournament, which I'm very excited for. As always, I will be doing the replays there. Y'all come join. After that stream, I'm gonna be playing Space Marine 2, starting the campaign, trying out PvP, maybe some PvE, but campaign and PvP are definitely what I'll be playing tomorrow. So, y'all come and check that out. It's gonna be a good time, guys. And, I'm pretty tired, so I think I'm going to save the Charix versus Blood Penguin replay for tomorrow, and I'll do that first, and then we'll get into the new player tournament. So we'll get all of those done for sure, though. So I'm going to leave it off here, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this stream, and I hope you enjoyed the games, too. They were pretty amazing. It is best of 3. That was game 2 there, Teutonic. Scrambled Egg is going to be the winner for today's tournament. I should play more defensively with the Phoenixes. I guess. and have archer support meanwhile. I had a build, but wanted to go for something a little different, so Zarix, being a good sport, as always, giving me some play-by-play here at the end. Alright, guys. I'm going to dip out of here. I'm going to go eat and relax and watch some football, probably. Y'all have a good one. I appreciate y'all coming in here and showing some support. And I'll catch y'all tomorrow, for sure. Y'all take care.